Did that song ever do it for you? Reach for...
Never played it. I DJ'd a long time. I never played that one.
No, but it's a cheesy one, isn't it? Hands up in the air.
No, it's a good track. It's just, I never thought about it.
Yeah, that's all right. Come here, how's the form today?
Form's good. Looking forward to the
Bank holiday weekend, nice.
I know.
And Halloween.
You're off again next week.
Hudson, you did some fine job in that house. You scared...
Hudson, aye.
You scared the living...
I call it tat. Ashley calls it decorations.
You call it tat? Well, sure, you put it up. You put up the tat.
Anything for an easy life. You know, I actually didn't put it up.
Did you not?
No.
I think you got the praise. I think you got the praise. I think
no, that was for scaring Hudson. Or for making out Hudson was more scary than others.
Would you dress up yourself, would you? For Hudson
sure.
or for the crack, would you?
I don't think so.
Huh? I have a good outfit ready to go, but I just need a Halloween thing to go to.
Really?
I do,
okay.
A mighty
one. Is
there
adult Halloween parties? There is pubs do stuff, don't they?
But sure.
What would you dress up as?
Oh, I can't tell you, but it's class. I have it.
What is it though?
I can't say.
Say it,
it's a
no
pirate, but I have the best of stuff.
Wow. So you look like Johnny Depp, sort of
I do, and the makeup on the hair and the stuff and the eyeliner and the whole lot. My sister did the eyes and stuff.
You just all dressed up, no party to go to.
I was hanging up. I was said to me, "What are you doing with that?" I said, "There's going to be a party sometime, and I'm going to be wearing
Halloween's
that."
not till next weekend.
I know.
So you've got a week to find somewhere to.
I got to find a party.
All right, and a Keira Knightley to go with. All right,
then. That's all right.
Well, no, I don't mean it in any way untoward.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, have a great week.
You have a
we'll
good show.
See you in a while.
Oh, you're going to be busy?
My word, it's great. I'd love to be
if you only worked as hard as me.
I'd love to be €1,000 behind you. All right, that's Lee Gooch back with you when he's back. Marty's in on Tuesday. Anyway, it's 9 o'clock. It is the 9 till noon show today. Let's get a news update first, though, and cross over now to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A Kellybegs councillor says she was very disappointed that only one MEP out of the 5 representing the Midlands North West region attended Wednesday's meeting of the Donegal County Council Fisheries Committee. Independent MEP Luke Ming Flanagan was the sole European elected representative to accept the invitation. Councillor Niamh Kennedy says that people who are now in crisis need better representation in Europe.
We were extremely disappointed in the turnout from the MEPs. The only one that did actually appear was Luke Ming Flanagan, MEP. Nothing from Kieran Mullooly, not Maria Walsh, not Nina Carberry or Barry Cowan. Very disappointed because, as we all know, the fishing industry is in such crisis at this moment in time.
Highland Radio contacted the remaining MEPs for a comment. Statements from Maria Walsh, who had a representative attend, Kieran Mullooly and Nina Carberry are available to read on our website. All said they had duties relating to the European Parliament and would be happy to liaise directly with Donegal County Council. Speed vans need to be located on the Capri Road and near Dewish National School. Capri Road has recently been resurfaced, and Councillor Martin Scanlon says it's now being abused by motorists who are breaking the 60 km/h speed limit. He says traffic has increased on the route and it's being used to bypass the twin towns. Councillor Scanlon also says a speed van should be placed near Dewish National School to improve safety in the area.
We have periodic speed limits where it's been reduced to 50 kilometres during times of drop-off and pick up for children. But those aren't being adhered to either. And I would hate first to have to wait for there to be a serious accident for this to be taken seriously.
The HSE's healthcare manager for Donegal is urging people to be mindful of their health over the holiday weekend and ensure they're aware of all options if they find themselves in need of treatment or care. Dermot Monaghan was speaking after the HSE warned that the emergency department at Letterkenny University Hospital is liable to be very busy over the coming days. However, Mr Monaghan stressed in serious emergency situations, people shouldn't hesitate to go to the ED or to dial 112 or 999. He says senior clinicians will be at the hospital over the weekend to discharge people where appropriate and ensure beds become available as quickly as possible.
Part of the response that we're putting in place is to make sure that the discharges don't just happen on a Friday and a Monday evening. They happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday to make sure that we're enabling people to get home. And that's a real key focus for us all weekend. Also, we're asking people that it's important to focus on making sure that they look after their mental health as well as their physical health this weekend.
And now for weather, cool, cloudy and damp this morning with scattered showers, with highest temperatures today of 9 to 11 degrees. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more at 10 o'clock.
Conas tá cuasaí? Conas tá an chláán? Conas tá tú féin? Conas is féidir am cabhar leat?
Tá sí an tacaíocht do riine a bhfuil néaltrú arthú leis an gceist conas a chur. Cé gur focail beag é conas, déanann an nasc sóisialta seo difear mór. Má tá aithne agat ar rinne a déan néaltrú a bhaim arthú leabhar leo. Fólam conas is féidir leat cabhar le pobal a thógáil atá cumsíoch ó thaobh néaltrúthe ag understandtogether.ie ón HSE.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. It's great to have you on board, and we've got 3 hours hopefully to keep you informed and entertained. And the lines are open. I'm going to introduce our Friday panel to you shortly. I just want to invite you to be part of the conversation. 086 60 25,000. That's the WhatsApp and the text number, 086 60 25,000. If you prefer to call, it's 07491 25,000. Our researcher and producer, Caroline, taking your calls, assisted by Katie today. And if you prefer to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. And just to remind you, you can watch the programme. Go onto YouTube. If you have access to a Fire Stick or your smart TV, you can watch us there. Or you can catch us on Facebook and on the X platform as well. Right, let's say good morning first to Katie Tyrrell McCafferty, community campaigner, regular contributor. Good morning, Kathy. How are you? Oh, Katie, I beg your pardon.
That's all right, Greg. Call me anything as long as it's not late for me dinner.
Yeah, I prefer to call you by your actual name. That would be one of the benchmarks. But great to have you with us. All right, thanks so much. Solicitor Breed Corrin, hello. How are you?
Good morning.
Great to have you on
Greg?
the show. And Professor Pat O'Connor is a professor of sociology and social policy emeritus at University of Limerick. Hiya, Pat.
Oh, hello, Greg.
Good
Relieved to be here.
No, listen, say nothing and no one will know. Good to have you with us. I'll start with you, Breed. Just some emerging news yesterday and overnight. And following the verdict in the Belfast Crown Court, which acquitted the former British soldier known as Soldier F of all charges relating to the 1972 Bloody Sunday killings, the central question for many is, given the court's findings that the evidence against Soldier F did not meet the standard of proof for individual guilt, this despite the judge's statement that soldiers lost all sense of military discipline and shot unarmed civilians, what are the legal and political implications, do you think, for the remaining Troubles legacy cases in Northern Ireland, Breed?
It's very, very difficult. I just want to remark first on the quiet dignity of the people of Derry, the relatives. They're, remarkably stoic in all of this. But it's the old adage, isn't it? Justice delayed is justice denied. And certainly, looking on from it from a non-legal point of view, you would think that, it's blatantly unfair that, Bloody Sunday, I was 2 in 1972. I'm now 55. And there's always an issue with historic prosecutions. And you're quite right. The evidence, unfortunately, was basically the witness testimony of 2 fellow soldiers, G and H, and Judge Lynch found that they were serially untruthful, and it would have been unsafe to convict Soldier F in those circumstances. And that's unfortunately the legacy that is going to now have to carry into any future prosecutions or any future quest to try and get justice for people who are obviously grieving. And again, the dignity that they carry themselves with is remarkable. I think it's going to lay down the benchmark for any future prosecutions, unfortunately. And the fact that this is happening so long after the initial event leads me, unfortunately, to believe that justice in the classic sense of the word will be denied to an awful lot of the victims and their families, unfortunately.
It's very hard, obviously, to be dispassionate with such a knowledge of what went on, what have you. But to try and step back from that a little bit, the bar has to be the same for everyone, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's the problem. The burden of proof lay with the prosecution. They had to prove who pulled the trigger and shot William McKinney and James Ray. And they couldn't do that because the judge quite rightly said that the evidence, the only evidence, was that of G and H, who were lying, who perjured themselves. And it would be unsafe and manifestly unsafe to convict on the evidence that was before the court. And hard and all as that is, I was struck by the dignity that these people have. I don't know how they keep going. Absolutely amazing.
Pat O'Connor, your reaction to the verdict?
Well, I think I thoroughly agree with Breed. I think she has eloquently outlined the problem, and really, it is justice delayed is justice denied. I listened to the, I think it is the brother of one of the victims, and he was so eloquent and so he managed to extract from the situation a great deal of positivity, saying, you know what, that the judgment given, okay, it hadn't convicted Soldier F, but it had recognised that lies, untruths, all sorts of things had been part of the case. But it raises, very fundamental issues about, which are very topical today, about what citizens can do when power is abused.
Yeah, we might get onto that if I'm reading correctly. Katie, I can't imagine what it must be like to spend your entire life trying to seek justice. You know what I mean, and to get as far as they did, and then to have the grace that they had, as well as both Breed and Pat have referenced. I mean, it is. There are so many people who've spent so much of their lives, every waking moment, probably seeking justice.
Yeah, Greg, and a lot of people, right, are not in my position that are English and completely understand the troubles, right? But I was very lucky actually, because I studied the troubles as part of my O levels. And I remember when my mark came in and said, you try to give an unbiased opinion, but you do fall down on the Republican side of things, right? That obviously shaped my future quite well, in the sense of understanding the situation. All I can say, again, the dignity of those families. I happen to know one of those families quite well. And I'm not surprised by the verdict. Because listen, everything was up against those families. I'm not surprised. It's not correct. We've seen miscarriages of justice go on for years in the state, in the UK, both unfair for those that were convicted of crimes wrongly as well. But those families could really teach some people a lesson about how you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, because their unbitter steadfastness has really caught the imagination of people, and this is how to tackle one of the most outrageous attacks by the British state on its citizens.
We'll be speaking to a relative of one of the victims a little later. Just finally, Breed, to you before we move on. I note that there's a lot of people in the Republic of Ireland publishing images and names of Soldier F, saying the gagging order doesn't apply in the Republic, etc. Have you any legal view in relation to that, or?
Oh no, this is my big issue at the moment with social media, and the legal system is there, and I don't want to weaponize the legal system, and I don't want to come across as being somebody who's saying I know more than everybody else. I don't know more than everybody else, but what I do know is this: there are rules, there are laws. If we respect them, then we're respecting other people's rights, and we're acknowledging that we, as citizens of a state, have obligations. I would thoroughly reject any person who decides that they're going to go behind the blanket gagging order in relation to the identity of Soldier F. It's got no place in a modern society. The man has been found not guilty. The relatives have dealt with that in their own quiet, dignified way. Can we just stop now and let this go, and let the rest of the trials continue on, and the rest of the work that has been done in that regard be done without having this nonsense of, well, the rules down here are different than the rules up there. Let's just respect everybody's rights and acknowledge our obligations as citizens of the state.
Okay, that's the voice of Breed Curran. We also have Professor Pat O'Connor and, of course, Katie Tyrrell McCafferty. We'll be back with more from our panel after our first break.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
Take a few days away and join us for the Highland Radio Country Cabin Getaway this February at the Sleeve Russell Hotel from Monday the 2nd to Thursday the 5th. Enjoy dinner, bed and breakfast and a fantastic lineup of live country music from Dominic Kirwan, Louise Morrissey, Sean Keane, John McNichol, Owen Mack, Jimmy Buckley, David James and Band, Trevor Lockery, Matt Levy and White Lightning. All this for €495 per person sharing. Single supplement applies. To book your place, call Highland Radio on 91 25000 or visit the outlet on highlandradio.com. That's the Highland Radio Country Cabin Getaway this February. Great music, great company, and a few days to unwind.
Celebrate the life and music of the legendary Joe Dolan live at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny, Friday, January the 16th, with the Dolan family and the original Joe Dolan band performing all the classics, Good Looking Woman, Make Me an Island, and many more. Tickets on sale now from the hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie.
Why wait till December? Get Christmas sorted early at Irwin Expert Electrical. The latest Apple and Samsung tech, a Sage coffee machine, even a Dyson or Shark hair care treat. Secure it now with our free Christmas club. Spread the cost, lock in the price, and we'll store it till you're ready. No stress, no panic, just smart shopping made easy. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Autumn is alive with a kaleidoscope of colour, nature and adventure at National Trust NI. Unwind and relax with a crunchy leaf walk through Llewellyn Garden. Sample the finest seasonal food at Florence Court's Harvest Fair. Gaze into the majestic mirror-like lake at Mount Stewart. And breathe in the beautiful garden at Castle Ward. Or delight with frightful fun on one of our trails this Halloween half-term. Come along and make wonderful memories this autumn. Search National Trust NI today.
Autumn is here and so is your last chance to save. The Easy Living Furniture Oktoberfest sale has been extended until Sunday. Enjoy amazing reductions across every department, from comfortable sofas and luxurious mattresses to elegant dining sets and on-trend accessories. Now's the perfect time to give your home a cosy autumn makeover. Sale must end this Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, presently Retail Park, Derry.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It is 17 minutes past 9. Now, we've seen 3 nights of protest at City West. Last night, smaller and peaceful. This in response to the alleged assault of a 10-year-old girl at the Migrant Hotel. A 26-year-old man remains in custody in relation to the incident. What lessons, I'll ask this of Pat O'Connor first, if that's okay. What lessons can be learned, I suppose, from the alleged assault and the handling of the protest? I suppose it's 2 parts. The second part must also include, did the Garda response get it right? Pat?
I mean, there's, excuse me, so many things there. But I suppose I'd want to start by saying I do think that in thinking about the protest, we need to really identify 3 constituencies. One are those who are really interested in fomenting hate and disruption. The second are ordinary citizens who are disquieted about the size of the centre and the loss of their facilities, such as the hotel. And the third group are what I, for want of a better word, seem to be being referred to as the teenage recreational rioters. Right? These are young people who really have nothing else to do, and it's a bit of crack, right? A bit of fun, I mean. And in a way, those 3 groups, lumping them all together as and saying that they are, you know, all the first group, those who are seriously interested in fomenting hate, does everyone a disservice. I suppose I want to say in the context of the recreational rioters that one of the things that has been really bugging me for ages is how way back, right, in the 80s and 90s, there used to be a whole load of facilities in disadvantaged and advantaged areas for basically youth, for boys and girls to do stuff which wasn't recreational rioting. And gradually that has virtually all disappeared, right? And nobody seems to really have recognized the consequences of that or have been interested in actually tackling it. So I think there are issues there. The second group, the concerned citizens who are upset about the loss of their facilities. I watched the news where I watched prime time it was, where they interviewed the minister, and like, to be quite honest, there are issues surrounding how does government communicate with people in these situations. But the minister's, it was Minister of State, his response was there's a web page. Now, I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it.
But does not the reason why many would feel, the reason why the government, and I think really one of the first instances was up here in the Maville area, if I'm not mistaken, but one of the reasons why they don't engage, the government don't engage, is because the outcome would be that they would hear the views of people that don't want these types of facilities close to them, be it the loss of facilities or be it a perceived threat, particularly to women and children.
Well, I was very interested also to see an interview with the school principal in the area. And I don't know the man from Adam, but so I have no axe to grind. But he was exemplary. Like he said, in their school, dialogue, compassion, communication. I mean, in a way, you just thought, well, hello. Maybe some of our public representatives, like they are public representatives. So whether this is the role of the county council, the government, or whoever, but somebody needs to actually engage.
Yeah, but if it would not be politically advisable for anyone to step up at this point and try and mediate or to advocate on behalf of migrants, it simply wouldn't be politically advisable. I think that's why we don't see that a lot. And it's far easier if you are more right-leaning or anti-immigration as an elected rep to stand up and say that. I don't think it's as easy for others that are trying to say this is okay.
Well, I was also struck by, there was an interview with one of our European representatives who said that he had been arguing for several years about the need to have a really calm debate about and presentation of facts and discussion about the whole issue of migration, people coming in, how many, what are the evidence, and this had not been initiated by our public representatives. And I agree, Greg, you're quite right in the sense that it is, but I'm afraid I would see it as total cowardice on the part of our public representatives that this has not been done, because it leaves a vacuum where the first group, who are only interested in disruption, hate, for really fomenting fear, they have been given a goal, an access to the goal, and it is an own goal.
Katie,
and seriously threatening for not only seriously threatening our democracy, as well as it is kind of no favour.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's really fair to say that it's they that are threatening our democracy. The government are making decisions that many feel are undemocratic. Now, you could trace it back to people voting for people and saying, well, that's the democracy of it. But, people are, a lot of this stuff is imposed on people. They've got no say in it whatsoever. And that's why the voices that you talk of resonate so much.
But they do need to basically lead on a debate. Why, what international obligations we have, why the decisions have been made to actually have such large numbers. 1,000 is a large number in an area.
I'll come back to you, Katie. What's your view?
Well, first of all, I think the thing that's really been lost in the days afterwards is how we've got to this situation that's happened in the first place. We have a 10-year-old child, under the care of Tusla, who goes missing. Yeah? How did that happen? Right? We've lost all sense of that, right? How did that happen? Then we have that she's allegedly, because we have to say that word, been assaulted by someone who had a deportation order already on them. So again, where is the person that's to answer for that? And that's why I don't understand why the protests are happening at City West. I don't understand. People have the right to be angry over what has happened. But why are the protests?
Because people feel in that area that they have been calling for extra Garda resources because they haven't felt safe. You've got a large group of individuals in there. The backgrounds aren't uniformly known. They don't know where they've come from, whether they've been responsible for any crime whatsoever. They feel uncomfortable if they see them loitering around the place. You know, people don't like this system of putting large groups of people they don't know in their area. So whilst you're right, Tusla have serious questions to answer, the system has serious questions to answer, but also locals are very uncomfortable, and it's reflected around the country.
But that's not done. Though those are separate issues in the sense that that's not helping that 10-year-old. So I would have had no problems with protests at the Doyle. I would have had no problems with protests at Tusla. Because that, right, what you've just said there, Greg, is that man's a scumbag, right? I don't want him here, right? Absolutely not. But you're holding everyone else in that City West hotel.
That's because there is no system. There is no system to actually identify someone who is an upstanding citizen or someone who could be responsible of the alleged assault of a child.
Right. Okay. But why they're holding everyone who's in City West responsible for the actions of that man? That would be like holding me responsible for the actions of Soldier F.
I'll come back to you, Breed. What's your take on this?
I want to just pick up on an excellent point made by Pat in relation to how we get the third of her three groups to stop recreational rioting. I remember during the last economic crash, listening to a very, very eloquent man who was providing a youth reach service in Tala at a cost of 40,000 per annum, where he was keeping the local boys and girls, the young people, occupied in the evenings when they'd nothing else to do. And I remember him saying at the time, and it stuck with me since, and I remembered it when Pat said it. He said, "What are these kids going to do when they've nowhere to go in the evening?" And where they're going is they're going out on their scooters with balaclavas and they're recreationally rioting because they've nothing else to do.
And I'm not that is a very very valid point. But I was watching much of the first two nights the live streams, and there was a big mix. You look at who's been before the courts. These are people in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s as well.
People
I'm not
in
doubting
their 60s.
exactly, and I'm not doubting that there are kids going about in scooters and bikes, and some actually even on horses. But if you look at the crowd, it's predominantly adult males. That's what I've seen,
yeah,
and those are the ones that were firing fireworks at the Garda Síochána. Those were the ones that were shouting and taunting and what have you. So,
yeah, but the guys who were in their 60s now were in their teens when the cuts hit and impacted the youth reach type services. And that's the issue.
Okay, so I take your point,
I just wanted to acknowledge that point that Pat had made.
It moved to an element of violence which it should never have. But there are those listening and very moderate people who weren't exactly caught up in themselves that would say it was justified. It was a justified reaction given the extent of the alleged crime and the anger in that local area and many local areas around the country. those rioters, those protesters would have got a fair level of support, I think, amongst what you might call moderate people around this country, because they're starting to.
They weren't protesters,
Yeah.
Greg. Those people were not protesting. Those people were there rioting. They are not reasonable people. And the three groups that Pat has quite rightly pointed out, we need to hear the voice of the reasonable people who do have reasonable concerns. I have very, very serious concerns about the government approach to how we're dealing with balancing the rights of our citizens and balancing our international obligations with regards to housing migrants. Our deportation system is not working. It's blatantly not working. When someone who has been looking at a deportation order in March is available on the streets of Dublin in October, the issue here is that the government need to step up to the plate and provide a voice for those reasonable voices. The problem is when you have a vacuum, when there's no voice, when there's no consultation, when there's no sitting down and talking to residents, you're going to have that vacuum filled by bad actors who are predominantly pulling all the puppet strings via social media. The Gardaí will say that this was, and they acknowledge that the recent protests dash riots were organised predominantly via social media.
And not
so you
all
have
in
all
Ireland
these bad
either.
actors at home pulling the strings of people who should know better, but unfortunately don't know better because nobody has ever engaged with them in relation to it. And that's where I blame the government in relation to this particular
Any
aspect
of the three of you believe that we need to have a conversation about immigration in terms of, obviously, all of you have said we need a conversation, but in terms of numbers, locations, integration?
Of course we need to have a conversation. It's a conversation that's long overdue. And that's the problem. That's the issue. And the lack of conversation and the lack of engagement has resulted in this vacuum. And that vacuum has been filled by people who are just there to cause havoc and mayhem.
See, Katie,
I don't see.
I don't see if, say, for instance, everybody in every IPAS centre around the country was granted citizenship today. Do you see a pathway to a genuinely blended society where, people that have lived here all their lives or lived here for 20 and 30 years will mix and socialise and share the same space with the people that are coming into the country? Or do you anticipate maybe we'll see pockets of people in certain areas, people maybe living here for years and not learning the language? Like, how do you see, because this is the country that we are leaving to our children, how do you see society if all of these people are granted citizenship? How do you see that reflecting on society into the future?
Right. Well, first of all, I don't think everyone will be granted citizenship. It's you have to go through a system. Obviously, it's been far easier for me to integrate because we're very culturally similar, and I speak the language. I don't speak Irish, to my shame. I have tried, and I do have a go. I think that I integrated with many people who are second generation. Yeah, so like I have friends that are Bengali that have exactly the same accent as me. I have friends that are African who have Cockney accents. Do you know what I mean?
Are you talking about in England?
Yes, in England.
But would you say in England, would you not sort of see, is there not a case that there are sort of two groups of immigrants, those that came and still continue to come to England for a better life and to integrate, and then there is also other people coming from different areas that tend to congregate in specific areas and don't integrate?
I think that changes within a generation. But Greg, we did, I have to say the Irish did that in the UK as well. Went to the Irish pubs. There's a massive Irish centre in Kilburn. Do you know what I mean? Everyone went to the same areas from Ireland. Most people went to Kilburn, right? Okay. Or West London. Do you know what I mean? Or the pocket of East London was Wapping. It was always known as the Irish area. Do you know what I mean? So it does change within a generation. I do believe that. I do believe, you know, that you had the Windrush generation who came to England. Now, most of them had to integrate straight away because they were brought to do jobs that needed to be filled. Do you know what I mean?
And I suspect that it is they and the second generation who are your friends.
Yes.
Okay, that's my point. Pat O'Connor, what's your view?
It's a huge challenge, you know. And ironically, I think like you have the same challenge, of course, at a very, very different level in terms of integrating, for example, Cork people and Kerry people with Dubliners. You know, anybody moving anywhere basically is seen as an outsider. When I was a child, I was basically slagged off because I had a Cork accent. They called me Corky the cat. I didn't fit in Dublin.
No,
The Dublin
shouldn't have told us.
Jackies, you
Yeah,
know.
okay, but
So
that yes, but there are fundamental commonalities there. Like, you know, I personally wonder what work is being done to educate people of the cultural norms in Ireland. You know, where women's role is in society, for an example, what's appropriate, what's inappropriate in terms of engagement. I'm not saying there's inappropriate stuff going on, but I mean, what is happening in that regard? Are you being... If I moved to China, right, and it was bad manners to stare at someone for longer than 5 seconds, right, let's just say it was seen as disrespectful or it made people feel uncomfortable. Surely the logical thing would be that the Chinese government would set up some sort of a system for new people to say, by the way, culturally here, if you stare at someone for 5 minutes, it's seen as disrespectful. I'd go, wow, okay, I've learned that information. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to pussyfoot around examples here, right? But we are throwing loads of people into one space. They are scared of each other potentially, and especially to people who are coming to live with us. Are they being assisted, and what makes us? What are the social norms? I've not heard this conversation had anywhere else, but I think it's a big problem.
I think you're absolutely spot on. And I think it's even more fundamental than that. I think we haven't had a discussion about what is acceptable behaviour in our society, in the public arena and in the private arena. I mean, the assumption has been that, you know, everybody will integrate and assimilate, and to an extraordinary degree, when you have small numbers of people, there seems to be, when people know each other, they get to know an individual, then in a way all sorts of interesting things happen, right, and which are positive. But I completely agree that whether that happens or not, there needs to be, we don't have a discussion. I mean, in a way, like France, the whole wearing of particular types of headgear in public arenas. Like, we even haven't got around to a lot of the people who were protesting were wearing face masks. I thought that was meant to be not acceptable, illegal. But we just haven't had that discussion because I suppose we're not comfortable saying, like, this is the kind of society we want. Interestingly, the only time we actually talk about our ideas is in the context of the, dare I say it, the election that the voting is happening today on. Mostly, we don't actually discuss, you know, the kind of society we are and what we expect of people who are citizens of our country. I think it's fine and dandy to say, you know, well, of course, we know you'll be, you know, a good citizen. But what that means in terms of your example of the Chinese and staring is spot on. But there are even more bigger fundamental ones, and particularly as regards women, the kind of attitudes that some of us have eventually seen some change in Ireland since the 1950s. Going back there doesn't seem a good idea.
Okay.
And actually articulating that if you're a member of this society, you don't have to stay, but if you stay, these are the kind of behaviours and that are expected of you. I think a respectful discussion of that is well overdue.
Yeah, and I
even
really
some
think...
of the cultural norms that I made mistakes on. Yeah. My mother-in-law asked me to drop her out at a wake. No problem, says I. Goes in there. I went to Francis. No one told me there'd be a body in there. Do you know what I mean? Like a wake with a body hasn't been seen. The last one of those I saw in the UK was in the 80s. I was a child. Do you know what I mean? So there are cultural norms here that were even a bit of a shock to me. You know, I was asked to go to a wake and everyone's saying the rosary, and I'm thinking, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, because it just doesn't happen. So there are loads of, and I think you're right, cultural classes would be a fantastic idea.
Yeah, but often those would be for, people living here, not those coming here. Pat, Breed, sorry, do you have a last word on this before a break?
Yeah, we're all wondering what will work. I'll tell you what won't work. What won't work is continuing to house refugees and visitors to our country in centres such as that in Sagart. What will work is integrating them. Yesterday I met a very interesting man, originally from Azerbaijan, married to a Ukrainian lady, both living and working in a small town in the west of Ireland. He's working in the local grocery shop, loves it. Everybody absolutely loves him in the town. She's working in the local pharmacy. His wife is working in the local pharmacy. The two of them have integrated absolutely perfectly into a small town where they're working and providing a valuable service in the two shops that they're working in.
You've hit on something quite important there, though. I mean, we do not have the accommodation to house people in the way that those two people find themselves living in. And then people say Ireland is full in inverted commas, right? And some say it very nastily, and others say it as it relates to services, okay? The reason we are requiring hotels and grouped accommodation is because we simply don't have the accommodation to satisfy the needs of the current population. There's 15,000 people homeless. So that route to integration it's ideal. But it's not going to happen.
This couple started in Ireland in hotel accommodation, and then both secured jobs in a tiny little village in the west of Ireland. I mean, if there's 600 people living in this village, they then got friendly with somebody who offered them a house. They're renting the house, they're working, they're contributing, they're paying their taxes. They are absolutely loved by the local community out there. Absolutely loved. And that's integration.
Yeah.
And that's and with regards to then, staring in China for too much longer, he was telling me a funny story about, and I don't want to go into it because it might give the game away in relation to their identity, but he said to me that a neighbour came to him and said to him that that's not the way it's done. And he said it was done so nicely and so diplomatically, and he said, I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Okay.
That's how it should be done. Instead of creating ghettos where we're lumping everybody in together and we're not quite sure what we're dealing with, and then that vacuum arises.
But then we surely then have to look at the inbound numbers then, Breed, because to achieve what you talk of, we cannot do it when you're having multiples of thousands coming in.
Yes, we do need to look at controls.
Okay. We're going to take a break, grab a coffee. We'll be back in 3 or 4 minutes after these messages and more from our guests, and I'll remind you who they are. You just heard the voice of Breed Curran. We have Professor Pat O'Connor and, of course, Katie Tyrrell McCafferty.
This Halloween is back, and it's bigger, better and scarier than ever before. Fawn Fright Nights return to the Lochswilly Marina from the 27th to the 31st of October. Dare to enter the haunted house if you think you can handle it. Open nightly from 7 to 10 p.m. And the best part, the price only €10. Fawn Fright Night, Lochswilly Marina Fawn. Over 12s only. Not suitable for anyone who's pregnant or with a heart condition.
Tosin se le tuitim, ach ní riochtnainn sin. Má tan tá leat tan leba ospidélan, agus éidan do winter in the recinn si do ghortaithe, tan fianán agus na hobradí agus na míana a chlánaithe, agus an tuiscint nach mé rudaí mar a bhí riamh ríis, má tan tá leat. Níl an tobaiste ach na hús na ruúlann tún talamh. Cé bé áit an aibrín tú, planal chun cín má bhín tú ag obair ar airde, teach ag hsa.ie/working at height. Teachtarach donúdar a sláinte agus a bháilteachta.
Find more special offers on the brands you love this week at Dunnes Stores, like mix and match on our selected Bird's Eye and Goodfellas range. Any 4 for just €10. Pick up selected Pringles, Cadbury Treat Size, Mars Fun Size and Nestle Minis, now half price. And check out Deal 3 of our 12 deals of Christmas, with Quality Street 550 gram tubs now only €4.50. And stay tuned for next week's deal. Plus, you can save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
If you're fitting a new kitchen or replacing some tired appliances, now's the time with the Ben Sweeney Euronics Kitchen Bundle. Get a single oven and hob, integrated dishwasher and fridge freezer, wash machine and tumble dryer, all for just €2,000. Other kitchen bundles are available on request. Call us today or visit Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Dad, who's Nissan?
Who?
Nissan. Uncle Pork said Nissan is a mighty deal on his cool new car.
Nissan. His new Nissan. Oh yeah, he did get a mighty deal.
Uncle Porg is right. Get 4K your way today. Choose a €4,000 finance contribution or a 4K trade-in bonus on a new Nissan. It's a mighty deal, however you say it. See nissan.ie for details. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
Ready to kick off your Christmas party season? Get the gang together for the big festive bingo party happening Saturday 29th of November at the Villa Rose Hotel, Bella Buffet.
It's bingo, but not as you know it. Expect festive tunes, cocktails, daft games, plenty of laughs, and a €1,000 top cash prize.
Tickets are just €25 plus booking fee, and they're on sale now at Eventbrite or HighlandRadio.com.
So grab your friends, your workmates, or your whole office and make it your Christmas night out.
The big festive bingo party. It's bingo with a festive twist.
This Halloween, Cost Cutter is full of frighteningly good value. Sink your teeth into O'Donnell's crisps, just €2. Creep away with a selected range of Swizzles and Haribo Minis and Cadbury's treat size from $2.50. And keep the fire burning with Zip Starter Logs, only €2. Cost Cutter, the beating heart of the community.
At Specsavers, we've got hearing devices that can stream music or movies. Ones that are good in crowds, rechargeable battery ones that are good at home, ones that are good in the great outdoors, ones that connect to phones, ones that fit in your ear, ones that fit over your ear, ones that fit in wherever you happen to be. We've even got ones in our advanced range that use AI to make speech sound clearer. And they're all available at great Specsavers prices. So book a free hearing check today. Terms and conditions apply.
You'd do anything for your child, but if something goes wrong, in school, in a health or social care setting, sometimes it can be hard to find a resolution. If you've made a complaint but the problem is still going on, the Ombudsman for Children's Office may be able to help. We examine complaints about how children are treated in our public services. Fair, free, independent. Visit oco.ie to learn more.
What does it take to be Ireland's best-selling car brand? Find out at the Toyota Electrified event at Kelly's Toyota. Our hybrid range speaks for itself, and with plug-in hybrids and fully electric cars, you can be as electric as you want to be. There's trade-up boosters of up to €2,500 and great monthly rates. So, don't miss the Toyota Electrified event October 25th to November 8th at Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny and Drumby, Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in store or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Right, let's look at that weather forecast. Cool, cloudy and damp this morning. Scattered showers drifting down across the region. Sunny spells will develop for a time later this morning as the showers clear, but cloud will return later this afternoon, bringing further showers too. Temperatures 9 to 11 degrees. A caller says the first step to integration is learning English, but currently in Donegal, those lucky enough to be on an English language course will only have one class a week. Others who have applied for courses haven't received a response, so it's very important that this is remedied. Perhaps Highland could have the Minister for Education on the show. Regards, we can inquire about that. What a silly idea, what a stupid idea, putting numerous people into small villages without the healthcare, schools, housing, etc. Also, giving these people benefits of free accommodation and travel. They can work so many hours a week and keep all the benefits. No wonder they love it. Born and bred Donegal woman. When the Irish went to the UK, they worked and paid taxes, rent, etc. I've worked in Ireland all my life and resent my tax being used to fund immigrants with free housing and spending money in Letterkenny. I see them every week, driving expensive UK reg cars, but live here, don't work. Just one example, why are they allowed to do so? Well, people in iPass centres get €38 per week. I'm not sure who you're referencing there. Okay, we're in the company of Katie Tyrrell McCafferty, Breed Curran and Professor Pat O'Connor. Artificial intelligence tools can make totally convincing fake videos and pictures, deep fakes now, so easily that it's getting almost impossible to tell the difference between what's real and what's not. This means we can no longer trust our own eyes when looking at news evidence or even things our friends post online, since these fake videos and images will only get better and easier to make. Breed Curran, how are we, the everyday public, going to figure out what's actually true into the future? And how long is it, I suppose, before it encroaches into the world of law and evidence and all that type of stuff? I'm not trying to pigeonhole you into law with every question, but, you know, there is lots of crossover here.
Oh, Greg, there are some days when I stand up in the district court that I would love if I could deep fake myself and get somebody else to come in and do some work. Oh, look at, yeah. I'm always minded in relation to this. Do you remember the time during COVID, the judge in the States had on his Zoom call in court, he was a cat.
Yes.
Or the lawyer was the cat,
Yes,
and the judge
indeed.
was trying to explain to him that he had a filter on that made him look like a cat. Yeah, there's some days I feel like that. It is extremely difficult. I mean, I'm very aware that there's a moratorium in relation to the election today, but during the week there was a deep fake video that was very convincing in relation to one of the candidates saying that she was withdrawing from the election, and you'd need to have a very keen eye to spot that there was a difficulty with that. The issue was that Meta weren't quick enough taking it down. It was flagged to them, but at that stage it had been seen by 40 or 50, 60,000 people, I think, at that stage. We just need to be very, very careful where we're getting our news from. We need to get our news from reputable sources. We need to recognise there was an organisation set up by Mark Little called Storyful. They seem to be, they were ahead of the pack with regards to verifying news and being able to provide confirmation to mainstream media as to whether images and videos appearing on social media were genuine or not. And that certainly needs to be a conversation about that. You know, as somebody who sometimes regularly gets lost in the world of TikTok for candy floss for the brain, as I like to call it, we need to be very, very careful.
But just in terms of
what
where
we're watching and the source of what we're watching.
Of course, and just in that context, though, that video is still widely available on Facebook that you talk of.
Mhm.
And if you search it, the first place it comes up is with the Irish Daily Mail, who have posted the video. Okay, so arguably some might say that
I
would
said
be
reputable.
well,
reputable
yeah, but
media.
people have.
Right.
I do understand what you're saying, but I mean, obviously, in the text they describe what it is, but actually the video plays without you not knowing what it is. Pat O'Connor, my concern is that now, you know, if I had, I don't have access to an Apple phone, but if I do, I could download the Sora 2 app, and I could take a picture of you and a sample of your voice, and I could almost, you couldn't determine the fact that it was not real, create an image of you saying anything and post it. And there's very little protection for you. You would spend the next week or so trying to disprove that it was you. But in a year's time, someone might say, I saw that video of you, Pat, because that would still stick about, you know. And that's the reality of what we're going to see going forward. I'm already seeing it with politics, but because it's so easily accessible now, I could just do this on you, Pat, and claim that you said something with that beautiful background that you have in your voice, saying something incredibly controversial.
It's terrifying. I mean, it is really the theft of integrity. I mean, it is terrifying. And I have seen AI, how it has improved. Like a year and a half ago, I would have said, it's pretty bad, you know, but it is improving exponentially. And I mean, in a way, the whole regulation of these structures has been, I don't think really governments have either wanted to or been able to control them.
I think it's the latter, and I think it's also the former, because Elon Musk is one of the greatest innovators in this space, and he wields so much power. You do have governments that are actually afraid of him. And then secondly, of course, he's based wherever he's based, and no matter what the EU try and do, they can't really regulate that space.
But then, I mean, in a way, what you're really saying is there is no point in national governments, that we may all just sacrifice ourselves on the blade of capitalistic whatevers, and people find that quite hard to accept. I mean, I think what is worrying is that eventually people will only trust, my mother said it, or my friend said it, it'll make the world, it's so narrow. I mean, it fundamentally throws out the idea of ideas of universities. What's the point, if we're not going to be able to say what is fact, what is truth? I don't really think.
I've been worried for a long time too, especially for the generations being bought into this. Critical thinking, I'm really concerned, will become a thing of the past because it is so integrated that it does a lot of the thinking for people. If you watch on X now, people integrate with the Grok app as if it is a person that will give the right answers, that will correct something that is wrong. It's unbelievable how people, it's in a thread conversing with real people, and it's just become the norm.
I agree with you completely, Greg. My daughter's 21. She's just in her final year of her BA in Maynooth, and Maynooth's a wonderful university. The first year, there was a module on critical thinking that was compulsory for BA students, and it was absolutely fantastic. She said she gained so much from it, and I think critical thinking is absolutely critical. We need to integrate it at
the earliest
primary school and secondary school. It's too late, really, getting them in first year in university.
And I'll be
we
honest,
need to integrate critical thinking.
And we can see also those on the extremes of politics, fully grown adults that have been around a long time, foregoing critical thinking because it wouldn't suit their ideology.
Well,
Katie, I want to get a word from Katie. Sorry, just before.
Yeah.
I don't want to replace you with AI, by the way, Pat, and I will. Go on, Katie.
No, I was just a bit like Bridge. I've got a history student, and one of the things I can remember again. Jesus, my O-level history's coming to the show today. In O-level history, we were taught about primary and secondary sources. And now, of recent, you would have said, an interview on a news broadcast would have been a primary source. It was the person actually speaking, saying what they were saying. Now, you just can't trust that because all I would say is that well-known phrase, do your own research. I mean, I did see come up on my feed the AI video to do with today's election, and it did actually say RTE AI next to it on the post that I saw, but it was pretty even the pauses, like waiting for the sometimes if you're on a live broadcast and they have to wait for the studio and that to connect, it was really well done.
All right, listen, I have to go. I'm so sorry. I wish I had another hour. Katie Tyrrell McCafferty, thanks so much. Have a lovely weekend, will you?
Thanks,
Look after
Greg.
yourself. Bye-bye. Professor Pat O'Connor, lovely to speak to you as always. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
Look after yourself. And, of course, Breed, look after yourself as well. Breed Curran, solicitor. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Greg.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye. And we'll be back with more of your comments and what have you after we take a break for the news and obituary notices.
As a parent, you always remember the little things, but don't forget the bigger ones. When it comes to child safeguarding, do you know who to speak to in your child's school and clubs?
Under Children First, all organisations working with children and young people need to have strong measures in place to safeguard children. To learn more about Children First, visit gov.ie/Children First.
We were all children once. Now we are Children First. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
For all you hard workers and multitaskers, those who come to work with big ambitions and bigger ideas, and all you legends of the trade, however you get the job done, there's a Volkswagen commercial vehicle for your business. Choose the new Transporter, Caddy Cargo, Crafter, Amarok, or the all-electric ID Buzz Cargo. Enjoy HB finance from 0% or purchase contributions of up to €2,000. Find the Volkswagen in you with the 261 range. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
Order your 261 with Connolly's Volkswagen Commercials Letterkenny. See connellys.ie.
Fearing the weekly shop? Your money now goes even further with our new Aldi Price Drops. Fill your bag with your faves, fresh wraps, pesto, maybe pancakes? You know, good food, the bits you need, and the treats you deserve. Then head to the till, check the bill, and breathe. Save even more with Aldi Price Drops.
This Friday, the Jive Time Show with David James is coming to you live from the newly renovated Mount Errigal Hotel. Discover the brand new look, the amazing atmosphere, and all that's waiting for you at one of Donegal's favourite hotels. Don't miss it, live from the Mount Errigal this Friday on Highland Radio.
The Ready Set Ford 261 sales event is on this November. Discover incredible savings across Ford's electrified range, from the sleek Puma Gen E and versatile Kuga plug-in hybrid to the adventurous Explorer and iconic Capri. With prices from just €28,900, there's never been a better time to drive a new Ford. Visit Ford.ie or your local dealer by 30th of November. Ready Set Ford. T's and C's apply. Price excludes delivery and dealer-related charges and includes grant and VRT relief. See Ford.ie for details.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonna. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Voting is underway in the presidential election with 267 polling stations across Donegal. Booths on the mainland will remain open until 10 o'clock tonight. On the islands, polling booths open at 2 stations on Arranmore at 10 o'clock this morning. They've just opened now. They close at 7 o'clock tonight. That's contrary to the closing time of 7:30 that was initially published on the lists. The change is because of this evening's weather forecast. On Tory, Inishboffin, Inishfree and Gola, polling stations open at 11 and close at 3 this afternoon. A Killybeck's councillor says he was disappointed that only one MEP of the 5 representing Midlands North West attended Wednesday's meeting of the Donegal County Council Fisheries Committee. Independent MEP Luke Ming Flanagan was the sole European elected representative to attend the meeting. Councillor Niamh Kennedy says the people who are now in crisis need better representation in Europe.
We were extremely disappointed in the turnout from the MEPs. The only one that did actually appear was Luke Ming Flanagan, MEP. Nothing from Kieran Mullooly, not Maria Walsh, not Nina Carberry or Barry Cowan. Very disappointed because, as we all know, the fishing industry is in such crisis at this moment in time.
Well, MEPs Maria Walsh, Kieran Mullooly and Nina Carberry all sent their apologies to the meeting. They said they were busy at meetings in the European Parliament, but they regularly liaise with the Council and with the fishing sector. You can read their statements on our website, highlandradio.com. Speed vans need to be located on the Capri Road and near Dewish National School. The Capri Road has recently been resurfaced. Councillor Martin Scanlon says that's now been abused by motorists who are breaking the 60km/h speed limit. He says traffic has increased on the route as it's being used to bypass the Twin Towns. Councillor Scanlon says a speed ban should be placed near Dewish National School to improve safety in the area.
We have periodic speed limits where it's been reduced to 50 kilometres during times of drop-off and pick up for children. But those aren't being adhered to either. And I would hate first to have to wait for there to be a serious accident for this to be taken seriously.
The Agriculture Minister, Martin Hayden, has announced the introduction of biosecurity regulations which will require all flock keepers to apply special measures for poultry and other captive birds. The measures come into effect on tomorrow week, Saturday, November 1st. They're designed to prevent outbreaks of highly pathogenic avian influenza in poultry and captive birds. The decision follows increased risks to poultry and captive birds during the high-risk period for avian influenza. It's due to increased inward migration 41 wild birds have tested positive to HPAI in the first 9 months of 2025, and outbreaks of HPAI have been reported this month in a large poultry flock in Omagh and also in a captive bird flock in County Cork. The HSE's healthcare manager for Donegal is urging people to be mindful of their health over the holiday weekend and to ensure they're aware of all options if they find themselves in need of treatment or care. Dermot Monaghan was speaking after the HSE warned the ED at Letterkenny University Hospital is liable to be very busy over the coming days, with people being urged to explore options such as NowDoc or their local pharmacies. However, Mr Monaghan stressed in serious emergency situations, people shouldn't hesitate to go to the ED or dial 112 or 999. He says senior clinicians will be in the hospital over the weekend to discharge people where appropriate.
Part of the response that we're putting in place is to make sure that the discharges don't just happen on a Friday and a Monday evening. They happen Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday to make sure that we're enabling people to get home. And that's a real key focus for us all weekend.
And nearly 13,000 new mortgages worth almost €4 billion were drawn down in the past 3 months. First-time buyers made up around 60% of all loans, while remortgage and switching volumes jumped 35% over the year. September alone saw nearly 5,000 mortgage approvals valued at $1.49 billion. That's according to the Banking and Payments Federation. Its CEO Brian Hayes says banks would deliver more mortgages if there were more houses to buy.
The first-time buyer market is going in the right direction. Now, needless to say, the Irish banks and non-banks would deliver more mortgages if we had more houses to deliver. And obviously, if one looks at the completion record this year, things are moving in the right direction. But it's very clear that mortgage lenders are doing what they need to do to get new, fresh mortgages out to the market. And that's very evident in the stats we're doing today.
Cool, cloudy and damp this morning with scattered showers. Sunny spells developing for a time later as the showers clear, but cloud will return later in the afternoon, bringing further showers. Top temperatures today 9 to 11 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. Back with headlines at 11. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Friday morning, October 24th. The death has taken place of Nellie Coyle at Knee Ferry, Ballina and Upper Dunmore, Filcara. Remains will be reposing at the residence of her sister-in-law, Phyllis Ferry, Dunmore Upper Filcara, today at 1 o'clock. Rosaries at 8 p.m, house private after the rosary. Wake is tomorrow from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Remains going to Chackfibble, Knee Fionnan, Filcara Church at 6 p.m. tomorrow to repose overnight. Funeral Mass takes place on Sunday at 12 p.m. in St Fionnan's Church, Filcara, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Filcara Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund. Funeral Mass can be viewed on mcn.live or parish radio at 106.5 FM. The death has taken place in Glasgow of Jim McLaughlin, Shaney, Kamata Malin. A service of celebration of Jim's life will take place on Thursday at Daldowie Crematorium, Glasgow at 11 o'clock. The death has taken place of Susan O'Donnell, Susan Pat, of Loch Nyoran, Annagray. Her remains will repose at her home today from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m. and tomorrow from 12 noon until 8 o'clock. Rosaries nightly at 8 p.m. House private after the rosary and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass will take place on Sunday in St Mary's Star of the Sea Church, Annagray at 11 o'clock. Burial afterwards in Mahragallen Cemetery, Gweedore. The Funeral Mass can be viewed on Kieran Rorty Funeral Director Facebook page and on the Annagray Parish webcam. The death has taken place of Tina Coyle, Ní Doherty, Aughnagaddy, Ramelton, formerly of Carrigart. Tina's remains are reposing at her home in Aughnagaddy, Ramelton. Family time only from 10 p.m. until 12 noon and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in the Church of St John the Baptist, Carrigart, with burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Alison Thompson, Ní Larkin, 46, Carolina Park, Loch Nagan, Letterkenny. Alison is reposing at her late residence, which is private, please, at her request. Requiem Mass at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon in the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Letterkenny, which can be viewed live on the parish YouTube channel. Interment afterwards in Conwall Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to Cancer Care West, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Colm Carey, Slavery, Buncrana, County Donegal. Colm's remains are reposing at his home.
Funeral tomorrow morning, leaving at 9:45, going to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral can be viewed on churchservices.tv. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Fearing the weekly shop? Your money now goes even further with our new Aldi price drops. Fill your bag with your faves, fresh wraps, pesto, maybe pancakes? You know, good food, the bits you need, and the treats you deserve. Then head to the till, check the bill, and breathe. Save even more with Aldi price drops.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. A big thanks once again to Katie Tyrrell McCafferty, Brie Curran and Professor Pat O'Connor for their contributions in the previous hour, and lots of you messaging in, as you can imagine, because these are always hopefully interesting topics, but those that will generate interest. A caller says, as a disabled woman, I'm sick of immigrants pushing me and my trolley aside in supermarkets in Letterkenny. Another, Greg, am I right in saying that a busload of people arrived at the hotel in question the day after the first night of the riots with Garda Patrol guarding them? Seen it on Facebook but don't know if it's right or not. I don't believe everything I see on Facebook. Just curious. I can't answer that one specifically. A caller says, I disagree with their points on the riots. This country is changing because of imported culture who do not respect the Irish culture or values. The Irish never went to another country and got their hands out. These people are being given, many coming here for economic reasons and nothing else. But is that like, you know, that's the system though, isn't it? That should be filtering people out that are only coming for those reasons. But I mean, you know, I presume you mean free economy, because when we did travel abroad for economic reasons and we continue to do so. But does that mean the type of violence that we saw this week is in any way justifiable? I mean, those guards, I know at least 3 Donegal lads, and it's lads, by the way, I'm not being, that are guards down there, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were lined up in the street. Is it okay? I mean, you're saying it's okay that, you know, they're doing their job, they've been told what to do, that they get bottles thrown at them, fireworks thrown at them. You know, these are not strangers. These are our family and neighbours and friends. As I say, I know 3 that were assigned to Garda stations, new recruits effectively, in Dublin. Because you have to think about it in the round. We can't sort of cherry pick what makes us feel better. You have to think about it in the whole. Is that acceptable? I mean, is that ever acceptable? To you, you know, we can't just make out the guards of these faceless people we don't know. They have been sent there. That's their job, effectively. And if they weren't there, what happens next? There's kids in that hotel as well. If the guards aren't there, right? So say the guards disappear, what happens to that building and the people inside it? Are you saying that could be justified as well? So I think it's important that really we think through what we're thinking and actually have to take it to its natural conclusion. And I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just saying, you know, you have to think about everything to its natural conclusion as well. You know, what happens if there were no resistance on Tuesday and Wednesday night? What happens next? You know, as I say, there are innocent children in that building as well. That lady is totally correct, says a listener. Tusla is a disgrace, like the social workers, the wine and cheese gang. As long as your problems are between 9 and 5 and no weekends, we might take a look. That worker should be sacked on the spot. They were probably on their phone when the child disappeared. Another, blame the government for what's happening in this country. The City West get 1.3 million. It's all about money. 1.3 million, what's that for a day? Another, immigration is simple legal immigrants, is normal people destroying their passports when they arrive. They should be sent directly back on the next return flight of where they came. They should not even leave the airport. That's normal procedure. Another, last week in Dublin, a man who was carrying a knife was stopped by Gardaí but was let walk on because he declared he was carrying this weapon for religious reasons. The video was doing the rounds on social media. Send it in to me, please. I would like to see that. A caller says if their parents knew their kids were rioting, they'd keep them in the house, but they do know they're brought up to riot. Another, I watched TikToks of a young 21-year-old girl being pepper sprayed as well as her mother. It didn't seem to matter if people were being peaceful or not. There are 2 sides to every story. The guards are doing their job, but I don't agree with the way they are doing it. And that's really, we didn't get to that conversation, but it formed part of my question. The one thing I will say, and this is in no way again to say what's right or wrong, when you see your own people being treated like that, it's tough. But I would not go anywhere near that Garda line, because I know how far they can spell pepper spray, and I know what they can do with the plastic shields. And they will push back and they will fire that stuff. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong what they're doing. I just know I wouldn't place myself in that position. Another caller says the Irish didn't go over to England to get put into a hotel. Back in the day when you emigrated, you went over to work. The people that are in this country are not here to work. The majority of people coming into this country, by the way, are coming here on work visas. I know it's the big emotive part of the conversation, those in IPAS centres, but they are actually the smaller proportion of people coming into the country. A caller says, I'm a little disappointed that they cannot see that people are being taken to the pitch on this issue. They're saying they're just troublemakers, but they're not. They are the people of Ireland, not just troublemakers. And I think in fairness to Pat, and Breed agreed, she was talking about 3 cohorts of people, and I thought they were being, relatively gracious in saying there were some young people caught up in that we should have resources in place for them so that they aren't involved in that type of activity, probably not really knowing all the issues, if you get where I'm coming from. I don't agree with your speaker saying that there's nothing for recreational rioters. I live in a rural disadvantaged area and I'm never off the road in the evening taking my children to activities. I also have neighbours in the same estate that don't do anything with theirs, but allow them to run around about in the evenings and not know where they are. Parents need to take responsibility for where their children are and not blame everything on community and resources. Our own society has lost its way. Our country is not in a stable enough place to be accepting all different cultures, as unfortunately our own family values, responsibilities and morals have gone out the window. I mean, I was having a conversation yesterday with someone and there was a person appeared in court in this county charged with very serious charges as it relates to children. And, no one mentioned it to me. It's almost as if sometimes we get a pass. I would love to see us angry at all of it, because there is an awful problem in this country, not just people coming into this country, but in this country, of primarily men, it has to be said, who use and abuse women and children. And it's not all men, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that. But we kind of, you look at a post, some news outlets post these stories up on social media, and there's not a whole lot of interaction. Sometimes comments are off, I get that, right? But this is a person responsible for the most heinous of crimes, and no one's talking about it in the houses, and yet we have this another awful, horrific incident, and it causes riots. I mean, I wish we could find a way to find space in our lives to be as protective of all children equally. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying we should temper anger or outrage. I'm not promoting violence or anything like that, don't get me wrong. But I just wish we could find a way whereby we don't just accept, the abuse of children in one space and then, get really angry in another. We should be driving change across the board, I think, anyway. My hometown, Letterkenny, and every town in Ireland has been completely changed forever by government incompetence. Lower Main Street has been taken over by migrants, and my wife will not go there in the evening. Our country and culture has been ruined by all government parties. A caller says, new children talk the real problem. It's everywhere, and Letterkenny, small town, losing hotel accommodation, etc. Morning, as nobody questioned how a child in Tusla was on her own. Let me see how I can phrase this without it. There are certain indicators. There's a lot of kids go missing. You would know that. There's a lot of kids go missing. A lot of them are teenagers around the country. And I would be familiar with addresses of certain places right across the country because I get all of the emails. And children go missing from that type of accommodation is way, way, way more regular than you might actually think. You'll see, as I say, I just have to be very careful. And I don't have to be careful because I don't want to upset too, so don't get me wrong. But, often these are vulnerable children. But a lot of the children that I would send appeals up for or nationally have run off from certain types of accommodation. So it's actually it's not uncommon. So when you ask how could someone find themselves on their own in that situation, I'm not sure of all the details of this case. I'm just saying in other cases, you can see how they end up on their own because they abscond. Hi, why is it that a pencil is left for you to use at a polling station booth when you vote and not a biro in the year 2025? Well, because ink can run and all that kind of stuff and smudge. Take a pen with you. You're no issue. If you want to go out and vote, take a pen and vote away. I think the pencil is just seen as something that, as I say, doesn't smudge as much and doesn't run if a ballot paper were to get wet, for an example. I'm sympathetic to everyone's opinions, but this one is take your own pen. There's nothing going on there, I don't think. How many protests is it going to take for the media to talk about the real problem? Okay, I advise you just to listen to the last hour because I'm trying to have a conversation about what the problem is. Stop the benefits and they'll report themselves or deport themselves, I presume you mean. This suspect of the attack on a 10-year-old girl was to be deported. Was he to avail of the 10,000 payout from our hard-earned selves? I don't think he would have qualified for that. Right, okay. We'll be back with so much more on the 9 till noon show. In fact, we are going to be launching next something that's become a very important and fun and happy and joyous part of the annual calendar here at Highland Radio. Sean Quinn will join me with the deets after these. Good luck, by the way, if you're playing the bingo today.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 24th of October. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €800. The reference number is S15. It's game number 43. The numbers are 38, 20, 31, 29, 57, 49, 84, 23, 4, and finally 71. Phone your claim to 910-4833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera, which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Change is the only constant in business. So whether you're starting or growing your business, our dedicated business teams will always be here to support you every step of the way. Because the best businesses never stop beginning. Search Bank of Ireland Business. Bank of Ireland. Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Thinking about changing your car? Making the change is easier than ever at Kelly's Toyota, thanks to Toyota Approved Used. Choose from our extensive range of used passenger and commercial vehicles, including 242 and 251 demo models at great prices. Tested and approved by Ireland's most trusted car brand. All our cars come with a 12-month comprehensive warranty with flexible payment options available. Talk to Kelly's Toyota today. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
Mary came into Londis today. Well, Tom, how's your Halloween going? Not too bad, Mary, says I, bobbing along. I thought that was quite a good one, actually.
This Halloween at Londis, it's buy one get one free on O'Donnell's Crinkle Cut Sharing Bag Crisps range and buy one get one free on selected 7-Up, Club and Pepsi bottle ranges plus deposit. And enjoy Villa Maria Sauvignon Blanc for just $9.99. At Londis, we know what locals want because we're local, like you. Enjoy alcohol responsibly. Offers end 27th of October in participating stores while stocks last.
Now, as we know, voting is continuing in the presidential election, but because of weather, of course, there can be some variations on our islands. Garda Richard Quigley is with me. Just to clarify the situation on Aaron Moore. Good morning, Richard. So what is the information you have for our listeners?
Greg, how are you getting on? Yeah, just something concerns were raised this morning when we were coming out to the island. about the way the weather might turn later on, particularly after the hours of darkness. So on the basis of that, we were talking to the returning officer in Letterkenny, and for safety, naturally, first and foremost, they were happy to pull the closing time of the polling stations here back to 5 p.m. So they've been open since 10 a.m. this morning, and the 2 polling stations in Leeds and a fourth will be open till 5 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. It had initially supposed to be 7:30. It was pulled back to 7 o'clock yesterday on the basis of weather. And again, just because of the possibility of the way the weather could go, a decision's been made now that the polling stations will close at 5 o'clock instead of 7.
All right, so get out and vote if you're inclined to do so. And obviously, Richard, this is to ensure that the ballot box can be gotten back to Letterkenny to be included in tomorrow's count.
Absolutely, yeah, to make sure everything runs smoothly and that the votes are here, that the votes that are made here are included. And for safety and everything else. That's the reason for it, Greg. So 5 o'clock here on the island for the 2 polling stations in Armagh, they'll be closed, and we'll be heading back to the mainland then.
All right, safe journey. Thanks, Garda Richard Quigley, for that information. So if you are going to vote today, and people made great sacrifices to ensure you could, you have till 5 o'clock now to vote on Arranmore Island. And it's kind of interesting because, there were campaigns for years to have voting on the islands, because they used to vote a day in advance for this very reason, actually, to have them on the same day. And yet here we are. We've achieved that. Well, I not blame me. And here we have a situation whereby the polls have to close early because they are on the same day as the mainland. Okay. Right. I almost called you God of Sean Quinn there for a second.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, exactly. Highland CEO Sean Quinn in studio with us. And, it's the 24th of October. And we are going to mention the word Christmas because, for obvious reasons, we have to launch Home for Christmas a little bit earlier to get all the prep done. And today's the day. How exciting.
It's great. I even put on my Christmas shirt today.
Yeah, no baubles, but yeah.
Try to get into the whole feel. It just not completely Christmas yet. But so I'm delighted to be back again, Greg. This is our 4th year to launch Home for Christmas. And I have no idea where we're going to go this year.
It's crazy, yeah.
It's brilliant. I'm excited by it. I can't wait to see the floods of letters, emails that we're going to get again this year. And my biggest challenge is, how do we surpass what we did last year?
Well, let's remind ourselves of last year. And this is visual, so if you're watching the show, you'll see it. And from an audio perspective, hopefully it'll work really well too. Last year was something special, wasn't it? You think you can't recreate it, and yet year on year, that amazing Christmas thing is recreated.
Absolutely. I said the same last year to the team. I said, I don't know how we're going to do it this year. And I think it's always the letter. The family that nominates, the family that are going to come home, it just hits you. And then the creative juices start flowing. You get somebody involved that is going to keep a secret for a number of weeks. And all of a sudden it starts coming together. So far, so good in 3 years. And I'm not sitting here confident that we're going to deliver it. But we've managed to keep it a secret this far. 4 years, 4th year, I'm sure we can do it. I'm sure we'll try a bit. It's just so exciting, Greg. I can't wait. It's to me, it starts Christmas.
Well, let's catch up on last year.
Yeah.
Splitting that prize amongst anyone. But anyway, maybe we could have a surprise for everybody here. Okay, folks, the cat is well and truly out of the bag. This is our Home for Christmas. Yes, big round of applause for everyone. We've been playing it blinded today, keeping everything and everyone a secret. We mentioned where they've come from. We've flown them from the other side of the world. They haven't been home for years. I think this might be some of the young family members' first Christmas ever. I think they were hoping at some point in the distant future to come back. And here they are. We've made miracles happen. And it is a Christmas miracle for this family.
It totally is. All the way from Melbourne.
Right, how are you getting on?
Really well, thank you.
How do you feel?
A bit overwhelmed, actually. It's been a big couple of days. It's actually a big couple of weeks since Sean's given us the call, and in the middle of a Thursday night, thinking in the beginning it was a prank call. Wasn't too sure what was going on until I started mentioning a few names and the penny dropped and thinking this could be true. We were planning next year to come back. Purely just we had to spread Dad's ashes because he passed away in May. But we're good.
Okay, I'm not going to dwell on that because I would say it's still very raw, okay, but I wasn't fully aware of that. So your father passed away, and the intention was when you did manage to get back that you wanted to be involved in the spreading of his ashes, and here you are now able to do it.
Yeah, we're a year early, so here we are.
Sorry about that. I got caught up with that. I could have watched that for...
we nearly got the crisps out there.
Yeah, I could have watched that for an hour. Yes, so a wonderful family, and it was a wonderful surprise, and a wonderful story too, and so many layers to it, some intentional, some accidental, but that's the joy of it all, isn't it, Sean?
It is, and I remember actually having a conversation with Declan. He was out walking his dog, and it was 11:30 at their time, obviously, whatever time we were at, but he was excited, but he found it hard to keep it a secret because reality was he told his girls they're coming to Ireland for Christmas, and he's a very open person, and he says, I'm struggling, mate. I'm really struggling. I have to tell somebody. And I says, you can't tell anybody. Please do not tell anybody. And it was kind of I nearly had to sign a contract with him to make sure they didn't. But it was worth it because the actual day was just amazing. Then they came out the lift. Family were sitting beside the lift. And I actually met them, would you believe, in Ballybofey during the week, his mum. And they still talk about it. It's great.
Yeah, 2022, we brought the Bradleys home from Sweden. 2023, the O'Donnells from New Zealand. And 2024, as you've just heard, the Flannerys from Australia. And, this is global. And no one else is doing anything on this stage. It really is quite remarkable. So, as we've seen, you can't get much further away than we've been talking about. So, the jury's out. Where are we going next? We simply don't know. How do people nominate for Home for Christmas 2025?
So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. The easiest way is to email us. So it's homeforchristmas@highlandradio.com. And what I will say is we don't need a full story, Greg, but the more information that you can give us, the better it is for us when we're actually looking and judging and shortlisting. Key thing here is make sure, please put your own contact number on it, because what we will do is we will ring you and ask you some more questions because we're going to get a better feel for it. So it doesn't have to be a story. It can be a paragraph, but make it punchy. Make it a reason why we should pick your family to come home for Christmas. You can also write to us at Highland Radio, Pine Hill Industrial Estate, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. And there's also a form online as well, so highlandradio.com.
Yeah, and the idea being obviously that, we are able to facilitate something that might not ordinarily be able to happen.
Absolutely.
And the more of that in the story, I would argue, and I'm not privy to the selection process, the better, because this is about making dreams come true, not dreams more affordable.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The great thing here is I'm opening this up to the world again.
Yeah.
I've got a kind of a feel for we've been the furthest away we could be, and we managed to do it. So this year, thanks to our two business people who have been so supportive and back on board again this year, we couldn't do it without them. They don't want to name mentioning who they are, but I'm opening this to the world again. Is where are you? Where's your family? Do you want to bring them home for Christmas? Tell us why. And we'll make it happen, as we have done for the last 3 years.
To recap, to enter, just tell us who you'd like to nominate. And it can even be yourself, and why they or you deserve to be reunited this Christmas. You can email your story and contact details to homeforchristmas@highlandradio.com. There's a form you can fill out at highlandradio.com, or you can post your entry to Home for Christmas, Highland Radio, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Entries close on Sunday, the 21st of November. So there's less than a month of a lead into this, and there's going to be an awful lot of work from the closing date until the event, whenever that might be, to be done. So you can understand the timing of all of this. And as Sean quite rightly pointed out there, tell us why it would make sense. And you can bang that out in a paragraph, right?
Yeah.
As Sean says, we can chase it up. The team will chase it up. But that being said, also, if you can give us a sense of the layers of the reasons, that's beneficial too, because we want it to be really important for the for the people.
Absolutely, and it's harder every year, Greg. You know, we sit, we deliberate, because this is life changing for a family that is thousands and thousands of miles away. So we want to get that right too. So the more information we have, I'm not saying it makes it easier, but it does a little bit, because we've got more feel for where they're coming from, who are the family, what's the background, and where can we get that surprise element as well.
Yeah,
that comes from the letter, believe it or not. So that's important to us. We had hundreds of letters last year. We anticipate that will be the same this year. There's a lot of young people that have gone out to Australia, but it could be America this year. It could be Europe. Whatever we see, and we might do
Dubai.
We might do too.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's just it just depend on what we feel is the right thing to do around
Well,
that time.
Can you give us a breakdown, generally speaking? Is it mostly people nominating themselves, or people nominating someone, or is it a mix? Or
No, it's probably, if I use the 80-20 rule, 80% of people are nominating a family who are away.
Right. Well, then let's try and equalise that out.
Yeah.
You know,
if you're away and you're listening, or somebody tells you about what we're doing today, feel free to nominate yourself.
Sure. Yeah, because they might, if they don't get the clip, it'll be posted on our socials and stuff as well. So, don't be shy about that either. So it's as I say, I find it hard to believe that you're able to replicate the amazing experience every year, but it's been that way so far. 22, the Bradleys; 23, the O'Donnells, that's Sweden, New York; 24, the Flanneys from Australia, and also to it doesn't have to be those countries either.
No. Anywhere.
Yeah, we demonstrate the fact that it is literally open to the world.
Our first year we were kind of restricted, okay, but we're not now. So wherever you live in the world, if you want to come home this Christmas, come and tell us why we should bring you home. And if we think you're the right family, we're going to bring you home, whichever or how it takes or how many days it takes. We had to bring Declan and the family home a day earlier last year, which was really difficult.
Yeah, but that was crazy because they ended up effectively in lockdown in the hotel. Like it was a military operation to keep them out of sight.
If people know Declan, that wasn't easy because he's hyper. He has to be doing things. But do you know what? He played a massive part, as did, can I also say, the Gallen group last year, that they looked after them from the minute they walked in the door to the reveal that they left. The hotel staff were amazing. And we can't thank them enough for that, because they were, we managed to surprise them, Greg, but it was because of the team that everybody came together that it happened. And as I said, we're hopefully going to do that again this year, that we can find a surprise element in the family that come home.
Yeah. And it was such a lovely, cosy setting too.
It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
They achieved that coziness in actually such a big place, if you know what I mean. It was lovely. Right, so just to recap again, who is coming home for Christmas? Highland Radio wants to make this Christmas extra special by bringing a family home for Christmas. To enter, tell us who you'd like to nominate, or you can nominate yourself. And why you or they deserve to be reunited this Christmas. Email your story, and very importantly, as Sean pointed out, your contact details to homeforchristmas@highlandradio.com. There's a online form on our website, highlandradio.com, or you can send it by letter to Home for Christmas, Highland Radio, Mountain Top Letter, Kenny County Donegal, and it's up to you however you communicate to us. There's no advantage. We're just trying to make it as easy as possible. Yep. And you have until the 21st of November 2025, so don't miss out. Get the letters in.
Get it in, yeah, because we have.
And as you said, depending, you could maybe push it out to 2. Who's to say the jury's open? But you're not saying it. Yes, you're not saying.
I'm
no.
open. I'm open to see which depends on which part
logistics
of the world
and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bottom line. The generosity of our friends is not infinite.
No. I couldn't go back to them again now and say, no. But do you know what? There's a budget there. We've managed to do it in the last couple of years at the other end of the world, so I'm sure that we can do it again this year. Before I go, Greg, can I just put a best wishes to Colin Ferreter? Next Wednesday, I think it is, he is up. He's been shortlisted for the Irish Programme of the Year.
Oh, wow.
And Radio Personality at the Oireachtas Media Awards. So
I think he's in for a shout there. He's a
I hope he
guy.
is. He is. Yeah, and I love the way he brings the kids together as well, both in speech but also musically. He does a great job on a Wednesday evening. So the best of luck to him
Brilliant
next week.
stuff.
It is Wednesday because he's off his show.
His
next week.
dad was my master.
Oh, really?
Master ferreter. Yeah.
Wow.
In Lahey National School.
So it's his fault then.
Partly to blame. Listen, I left Lahey National School in good shape. It was the decline happened after that, so it's not Master Ferreter's fault.
Yeah, any old excuse. Yeah, I get that one. I don't have an excuse. I just never got there.
Yeah, so. I know. So there you have it. That's the
so
connection.
the best
well
luck
done,
best
Colin.
luck.
Well deserved too. It's a really my Irish is poor. But I tune in because he streams it as well, and it's lovely to the way he harnesses and encourages the language in a cool, fun way.
He is cool.
So he's cool, isn't he?
He
Handsome too. He kind of annoys me a little bit. All right. Anything else, Sean?
No, I think we've more
Shania
to come.
will. I'll recap. Loads more coming up to Christmas as well. So
Busy
stay
time.
tuned here because a lot of it is down potentially to your advantage. So we'll recap. You'll hear the promos. You've got to 21st of November. Get onto the website if you missed anything there, because sometimes it's handy to look at information as well. HighlandRadio.com. And don't be shy to nominate yourself as well. I'm using the word shy because I can't think of an alternative. But don't be behind the door. It's not about shyness, if you get where I'm coming from. All right, Sean, thanks very much.
Thanks, Greg.
Back
Thank
after the break.
You value bank holidays that bring more to the table, like exciting Lidl Plus offers. Roastworthy Board B approved whole medium chicken, 14% off now $4.29. And stout standing Guinness savings, 15-pack was $29.50, now $24.85 plus deposit. Lidl, more to value. Get the facts for Drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie.
There's any number of new cars out there, but do the numbers add up? With the stylish Peugeot 2008, Fastback 3008 and spacious 5008 electric and hybrid range, they really do. Enjoy a €500 Dunnes Stores gift card, a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, and for electric cars we'll add a free 3-year service plan and a home charger. Order your 261 Peugeot today at McGinley Motors, your main Peugeot dealer in County Donegal. Offer ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
At Foy's, with expert teams in both Letterkenny and Ballybuffet, we deliver professional interior design and colour consultations for both residential and commercial projects. Whether it's a cosy living room or a full renovation, we offer personalised design advice and premium paint choices tailored to your style. See foys.ie or call in store today to Foy's in Letterkenny or Ballybuffet, and let's bring your vision to life.
With TUI, there's more choice than you think. Beach days or a city break. Weekend in Rome? Booked. Fly from your local airport? Of course. Just a hotel? Got them too. Number of nights? Take your pick. Tailor your trip with more options and more choice. TUI. Live happy.
It's Sofa Time's 13th birthday, and to celebrate, save an extra £100 on all sofa orders. Choose from a wide range of 3-seater, 2-seater and corner sofas in hundreds of fabrics and leather options. But hurry, ends soon. Visit one of our 8 stores across Northern Ireland. Sofa Time, make it yours.
Hello, it's Joe Duffy here. I've been fortunate through my work with the National Lottery to meet some extraordinary good causes, from boxing clubs, wildlife conservation to community cafes. Did you know National Lottery players raise over €4.5 million every week for good causes all over Ireland? And that's all thanks to you, the players. You made this possible. Support responsibly. Average figures based on 2024 financials.
Forward Festival presents The Big Hully, featuring Whistling Donkeys, All Folked Up, Derek Warfield and Young Wolf Tones, Danny Byrne Band and High Flying Paddies. Bank Holiday Saturday, 25th of October. The Marquee, Letterkenny at Kiltoy. Tickets available from forwardfestival.ie.
Now, London's Downing Street says the not guilty verdict in the trial of Soldier F is an example of the complex legacy of the Troubles. Yesterday, the former paratrooper was found not guilty of murdering James Ray and William McKinney and of trying to kill 5 others on Bloody Sunday. Veterans have welcomed the verdict. Families say their campaign is not over. Mickey McKinney, his brother William, was one of the 13 people murdered on Bloody Sunday during a civil rights demonstration, and Mickey is with me now. Mickey, how are you today?
Slightly better than yesterday. Maybe a bit of time to reflect.
yesterday was full of emotion, at the verdict. We were really disappointed. But on reflection, we knew it was going to be close anyway, and we knew that the evidence wasn't really stacking in our favour. But we were still hopeful that we might have got a better result.
Having seen the evidence and sat through the trial, do you disagree with the verdict?
Well, of course, I disagree with the verdict. Soldier F was responsible for his actions that day. The judge, and I'm probably contradicting myself here, but the judge is guided by the law. We were depending on the hearsay evidence of two soldiers who are two liars. They all told lies regarding the events of Bloody Sunday. They were all covering up. They were all protecting each other. And because it has been proven that they are liars, the judge couldn't rely on their evidence, them saying that they put F and Glenfada Park firing his weapon. Now, this has been at the committal, Judge McGill Bishop Street, and both teams discussed about the lies that had been told, and everybody agreed that there was lies told, but that didn't necessarily mean that everything that they told was a lie. These four soldiers went into Glenfada Park. They were known as a brick, and they worked two together. Now, G and H placed F in Glenfada Park. We know F was in Glenfada Park. That's common knowledge. But the judge, because it was known and proven that the two soldiers were liars, he had to throw the evidence out.
But there was a fight to get that evidence before the court into the first place, and when that was allowed, did you think, right, okay,
yes,
then maybe there will be a little bit more nuance in what is a lie and what is the truth?
No, the judge knocked F's defence back on 2 counts on similar stuff on allowing the hearsay evidence, which was sort of giving us a bit of hope. And even half an hour before he made his decision, when he was going through everything yesterday, I was feeling a bit confident about it. And then he just drops this on us.
He said the troops lost all sense of military discipline as they shot unarmed civilians in the back as they were fleeing from them on the streets of a British city, as he described it. Furthermore, the judge said he had no doubt the soldiers who opened fire did so with the intention to kill, and they did not act in lawful self-defense. That being put on the record by the presiding judge, is that an accomplishment, or is that an advance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah, that's very important. That's very important. That's very heartening. I have to commend the judge now for saying that. That's something that really mattered. I think I took comfort out of that.
Mickey, we know now the bar, and we knew it going into this, right? But I mean, this is probably a case that will be referenced in the future as various individuals, including yourself, seek justice. It is going to mean to actually bring a case and get it as far as a court now is going to be increasingly difficult, it would seem.
we always knew that this was going to be difficult. We knew that, and again, because of passage of time and people getting older and people dying off, that our evidence was gradually fading away. We were very much aware of that. And we knew that the evidence wasn't really stacked in our favour. But we still had to have a go. We couldn't let this boy walk. We had to fight, and fought we did. We stayed with it.
The one thing that came from we have a Friday panel on the show in the mornings discussing stuff, and from listeners as well, Mickey, is how you and the others in their search for justice have conducted themselves through the whole process, but also during the trial, in advance of the trial and after the trial. It's remarkable that the dignity with which you have held yourselves in this as the fight goes on.
I'm thinking that really matters. Maybe your listeners may not be aware of what else was going on when we were going into the court and coming out of the court. There was ex-military standing with their berets and their badges. As we were going into the court, they were standing at the gate, and as proceedings went on, each day passed, they were standing at the front door of the court. And when we went into the court, okay, it's a public area, the seating area within the court is a public area. And they were in the court as well. They weren't wearing their berets when they were on the court, but they were there. And when we was coming out of the court, and at breaks during the lobby, they were standing mingling among us. They were standing very close to us. They were stalking us. They were trying to eyeball us, and none of us reacted. Quite deliberate. We were never going to react to those people.
What
but they were wanting to make their presence felt.
What bizarre behaviour, because that's not necessarily to support Soldier F. That might be necessarily, you could read into that saying, what we did that day. Here you are, there's our uniform, there's our beret.
There you go, that's a good possibility.
Wow.
I know, like, all our relatives who were there, we were all conscious of it. We spoke about it, saying, this boy is standing stalking us, is standing gawking at us, but we didn't react. We ignored them.
Mickey, I know you and so many other families have worked tirelessly to get justice for William, to keep William out there and for people to remember him. I do hope, Mickey, that people like you, and particularly actually as I'm speaking to you, have space for yourself as well, if you know what I mean, and that you can balance this and live your life and be happy otherwise, even though you lost your brother, if that makes sense. I really do hope you have that balance, because you deserve that too.
Thank you.
All right, Mickey, look after yourself.
Matters.
All right,
Thank
look
you.
after yourself, Mickey. Take care. That's Mickey McKinney, whose brother William was one of the 13 people murdered on Bloody Sunday during a civil rights demonstration. And we talked of the dignity, or our panel talked of the dignity in light of antagonization. How would you describe that? What would be your motivation for doing that in that way? You could make that point in a different way, couldn't you? Unless you also had multiple motivations for being there in that fashion to begin with.
Autumn is here, and so is your last chance to save. The Easy Living Furniture Oktoberfest sale has been extended until Sunday. Enjoy amazing reductions across every department, from comfortable sofas and luxurious mattresses to elegant dining sets and on-trend accessories. Now's the perfect time to give your home a cozy autumn makeover. Sale must end this Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, presently Retail Park, Derry.
Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, work. Shower, teeth, clothes, coffee, keys, car, drive, truck!
You never know what's coming. Slow down on rural roads. A message from the Road Safety Authority. Visit rsa.ie.
Discover Centra Simple Savers, your go-to for great value this bank holiday weekend. Like selected inspired by Centra breakfast bundle, any 3 for €6. Centra Fresh Irish strip loin steak 2-pack €9. And Casiero Del Diablo wine ranges €8 each. Enjoy simple prices on all your favourites. Centra. Live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Getting your first electric car is like meeting your partner's family for the first time. Nerves are normal. You were stressed about awkward silence with her dad. Now you chat for hours about sport. You worried her mum wouldn't like you. Now she likes you better than her own son. Likewise, once you experience how great an EV can be, you'll never look back, especially if it's a Skoda. Order your electric Enyaq or Elrock today.
Skoda. Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 9721 396.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, supporting you with the right footwear. Have you tried the Hoka Sensation yet? Hoka provides comfort, support and shock absorption, which makes them a good choice for frequent runners and walkers, or anyone whose job requires them to stand for the majority of the day. Check in store or shop online at bmcsports.ie. Step into our safe size experience. Get the right fit for you at Brian McCormick Sports. Christmas Club now open.
This Friday, the Jive Time Show with David James is coming to you live from the newly renovated Mount Errigal Hotel. Discover the brand new look, the amazing atmosphere and all that's waiting for you at one of Donegal's favourite hotels. Don't miss it, live from the Mount Errigal this Friday on Highland Radio.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com today.
Okay, sunny spells will develop for a time late in the morning, which is around about now, isn't it? Showers clear, but cloud will return later this afternoon, bringing further showers too. Highest temperatures today, 9 to 11 degrees. And just to remind you, if you intend to vote on Ironmore Island, voting closes at 5 because of weather, the potential for unsettled weather, and to make sure that ballot box gets into the Aura Leisure Centre for the count tomorrow. And we're broadcasting live tomorrow from the Aura Leisure Centre. We've got a great team. We're going to be broadcasting from 1 to 2 on air. We might push it out a little bit exclusively across our socials, but we're on air from 12 to 1, I beg your pardon, from noon till 1 p.m. And there will be Tally's people there. We'll hopefully get a sense of what's going on in terms of who is polling well. There's a couple of interesting sort of little scenarios in there. Of course, you've got the 2 candidates. You've got a third candidate who hasn't been campaigning for some time. You've also got a campaign from people looking to spoil votes, etc. So hopefully the tallies will be strong enough to give us strong indications as to what's happening. We'll also find out what's happening nationally as well. A picture will be beginning to emerge at that stage. And we've got a brilliant team down there. Michaela Clark's going to be out on the floor getting the latest vibes and joining us regularly. We have a panel of Dr. Joe Kelly, John McAteer and also Paddy Rooney. So, of course, we'll focus on local issues. We'll focus on the campaign as a whole, and we'll see where the turnout's looking, why the turnout may have been where it's at, but also who is most likely to win. And they say all the polls in the world, the only one that matters in reality is this one today. But we should know when we come on air tomorrow about 12, or exactly at 12, we should know where we're at or where we're going. So tune in for that if you can. And as I say, we might push it out a little bit exclusively online for you as well, beyond 1, but we shall see.
My Future Fund, the new auto-enrollment retirement savings scheme, is coming. You pay in, your employer pays in, and the state tops it up. It all adds up to a great way to save for your future and something to look forward to. For more information, visit gov.ie/auto-enrollment. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
How are things? How's the family? How are you? How can I help?
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, it starts with asking how.
Because how is a small word, but this social connection makes a big difference. So if you know someone affected by dementia, check in with them and learn more about how you can help build dementia-inclusive communities at understandtogether.ie from the HSC.
Make great photos into beautiful gifts at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Different gift ideas include canvas prints, freestanding or ready-to-hang art blocks, and personalised photo books, perfect to mark any occasion. There's also jigsaws, calendars, mugs, and much more. For details, visit mcgees.ie. Turn your favourite moments into something truly special with McGee's Chemist Letterkenny.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Workwear, workwear, workwear at Borderland Muff. Winter jackets, fleeces and hoodies at Borderland Muff. For fashion jeans and waterproofs, Borderland Muff. Christmas and Ski Wear Club now open. Stocking Columbia, Apache, Snickers and more. Open 7 days and online at borderlandmuff.ie.
The big Renault sales event now on at Highland Motors in Letterkenny offers the opportunity to see and test drive a number of multi-award winning cars of the year. Fabulous Renault cars and outstanding offers during this 261 sales event until this Saturday at Highland Motors, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. Now's the time to rethink Renault.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And it's 11 o'clock, time for a news update. It's good morning once again to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The 2 polling booths on Ironmore Island will now close at 5 o'clock this evening. Polling at Leibgarrow and Afford National Schools opened at 10 o'clock this morning and were to have closed at 7. However, as concern grows regarding the weather this evening, it's now been brought forward to 5 o'clock. On today's 9 till Noon show, Garda Richard Quigley outlined why the decision was taken, and polling has just opened on the other islands and they're due to close at 3. A Kellybegs councillor says she was very disappointed that only one MEP out of the 5 representing the Midlands Northwest region attended Wednesday's meeting of the Donegal County Council Fisheries Committee. Independent Luke Ming Flanagan was the sole European elected representative to accept the invitation. Highland Radio contacted the remaining MEPs for a comment. Statements from Maria Walsh, Kieran Mullally and Nina Carberry are available to read on our website. The Agriculture Minister has announced heightened poultry biosecurity regulations to protect birds from avian flu. The measures, which will come into effect next Saturday, are being introduced in the wake of 2 outbreaks of bird flu in Cork and 1 in Omagh. 11 cases of avian flu have been identified in the greylag geese population of Fota Wildlife Park, which has resulted in the temporary closure of the attraction. Members of the public are reminded not to handle sick or dead wild birds. Families who lost loved ones on Bloody Sunday say their campaign will continue after the trial of Soldier F ended with a not guilty verdict. Yesterday, the former paratrooper was cleared of 2 murders and 5 attempted murders in Derry in 1972, a decision welcomed by former British Army soldiers. But the judge said members of the parachute regiment had shot dead unarmed civilians and those involved should have hung their heads in shame. And finally, speed vans need to be located on the Capri Road and near Dewish National School. Capri Road has recently been resurfaced and Councillor Martin Scanlon says it's now being abused by motorists who are breaking the 60 km/h speed limit. He says traffic's increased on the route and has been used to bypass the twin towns. That's all for now from the newsroom. Back with more headlines at 12 noon.
Thank you, Donna Marie. Our next guest joins me in just over 30 seconds.
Some things you love shopping for. Home insurance? Oh, not so much. But peace of mind matters. And with An Post Insurance, you get quality cover, great value and protection for your home and its contents. And right now, if you get a new home policy, you could win a €1,000 voucher for Woodies. For something you'll actually enjoy shopping for. Get a quote today at onpostinsurance.ie. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. See onpostinsurance.ie/promotions. Competition closes end of month. One Direct Ireland Limited, trading as An Post Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of An Post.
Now, family and friends of the late Carl Henderson have organised a sponsored walk up Errigal this Sunday in his memory on the 6th-month anniversary of his sudden passing. On Saturday, April 26th, the husband and father of 3 was hiking on Errigal when he suffered a medical event, and despite the best efforts of the emergency services, sadly, he lost his life. It took over 50 minutes for a land ambulance to reach him in the mountain path, and the closest defib was located around about the same amount of time away. And there are moves well advanced now to make sure that's not the case any longer. Caroline Henderson is Carl's wife and joins him now. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's so lovely to see you again. How are you keeping with this walk just around the corner now?
It's been really good for me to find something positive coming out of this, and the outpouring of love and support has been amazing. So thank you to everybody.
Yeah, and I think you've been really selfless and incredibly brave to use your experience to try and help others. We spoke previously about the contacting protocols, didn't we?
Yeah.
And also to now looking to get a defib on site. And it's almost unbelievable one wasn't there before now, Caroline.
Yes, yeah, it was really the thing that was missing on the day that Carl did suffer a cardiac arrest. So I really hope that nobody has to go through this in the future. And it's peace of mind for anybody else that's going to climb up, especially when Errigal attracts 40,000 visitors a year. And with the new path, you see more and more people going there. So it'll be a legacy for Carl that safety net's now going to be there in place, because we've nearly raised nearly €10,000 right to date.
How does that feel to have such a positive response like that?
It's very, very comforting in this early stages of unimaginable grief for myself, and it's going to be a really good comfort for the children. The twins are still only 6. They find it hard to process their dad's death, but when they grow up and they see the outpouring from the whole community in Donegal, here in Moira, in England, and we've had donations from as far as New Zealand and Hong Kong. It's just a wonderful legacy for Carl, and his death is going to help others.
Yeah, and what total do you need for the defib?
We need about €10,000, and we still have some money to come in. So we're hoping that Donegal Mountain Rescue Team will benefit significantly as well. They cover the whole of Donegal wide, and they get no funding, and they have been amazing. And, without their support on the day Carl died, they couldn't have kept doing CPR when they got him in the helicopter. So, knowing that they did everything they could and they got him to Letterkenny Hospital and they still kept trying has been amazing peace of mind for myself. And I know it will be for the children in the future when they grow up.
Yeah.
And our family and friends.
And listen, we know that, or we don't know what impact a defibrillator on site might have had for Carl, or for anyone else, God forbid, that suffers cardiac arrest on the mountain. But what we do know is that a defib being there in the right location will give people into the future the very best chance of survival. And we know it does play a really important part.
Yeah, and every minute counts, and it could, we don't know, but it could have been a chance for myself and the children to have said goodbye to Carl, which would have been really important for us.
Caroline, can you remind us just of what you mentioned to us before about, how long it took you to find out and what have you? Because I just think it's really important, and I don't want to waste an opportunity for you to get that point across again.
Yeah, just, if anybody's going through this and someone has a cardiac arrest, or you need to ring 999, please, please, please contact their next of kin, their wife, whoever lives in their home with them. They need to know within minutes. And it was a very long 2.5 hours, and I'm finding it really hard to process that length of waiting time. So I'd just like to get that message out to everybody. Thanks for everything everyone did on the day, and in the future, please ring their wife, their husband, their son, their daughter, their mum, their dad, their next of kin within minutes of the 999 call, please.
Yeah, and you wanted to, I think, get some sort of an official protocol in place, if I remember correctly. How's that progressing?
It's progressing. I spoke to the head of the ambulance service. He was very kind and got in contact after the last radio interview, so thank you for the opportunity. JJ, and he's going to speak to the relevant people. I'm in contact with Letterkenny Hospital, and I've certainly been in contact with the Garda, so it would be lovely in the future to see all of those multi-agencies coming together and making sure we had a really good plan in place that this doesn't happen to the next family member, you know, because that gap is really hard to live with as Carl's wife. And it would be great if I'd managed to get to Letterkenny Hospital when the helicopter arrived, and looking at the time scale, I certainly could have done that, and I could have been there and held his hand at the point he was declared dead.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's going to be progress with that, and I really hope all the multi-agencies will work with me to ensure the next family has a more positive experience in the worst day of their life.
And that's what Sunday is going to be, a positive experience, I hope, in the wake of the worst day of your life, because people are still being invited to climb Errigal this Sunday. And if you're inclined to do so, you're asked to gather at the Old School in Dunlewy, next to Rorty's shop. Participants can collect wristbands between 11 a.m. and 11:30. A free park and ride shuttle bus, sponsored by Cronin McFadden, will operate from 11:30 to bring participants to the starting point, with the climb beginning in staggered groups from 11:45. And organisers are urging everyone who plans to attend to pre-register online and make use of the free park and ride shuttle bus on the day. And donations to fund the defibrillator and support the amazing work. There are 4th emergency services, the Donegal Mountain Rescue, but they're completely voluntary and rely on donations. So get on to idonate.ie and /crowdfunder /climb for Carl, and you can search Climb for Carl on Eventbrite too to book your place on the climb and to support you, Caroline, and the twins and the family generally in what you are doing, because it's a legacy, right? And it's something Carl and you will leave behind and will prove to be a lifesaver into the future. And what more could you do than try and best avoid someone going through what you have had to go through and are going through?
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that time. And we've just been given 40 hats. So the first 40 people that come on Sunday will get a free hat.
Yes, and for our sins, we're participating as well. Myself, Caroline Orr is definitely going to be there, and Shannon Wilkins, the 9 till noon team, because obviously we're so moved by your story, and we want to be there as well. So we are going to join in. Hopefully it'll be good crack. My first foot on Errigal.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming to join us. We're really pleased that you're able to come, and anyone else that wants to sign up is very welcome to, and any donations. Thank you.
Of course, and we'll post all those details on our socials as well. You will get a good rush coming up to the day, because we do leave things, although people have been incredibly generous, but this is for everyone. You know, it's to back you, it's to back Carl and the kids, but it's also for everyone, and to support the Donegal Mountain Rescue Team, who are awesome too. As you are, Caroline, thank you so much. You're doing your hobby very, very proud. I hope you know that.
Thank you very much.
Look after yourself. Bye-bye. That's Caroline Henderson there. If you need those details, by the way, and you want to join that walk, join us as well. We're going to do it, me, Caroline and Shannon. Caroline was kind of leaving what I suppose in political terms might be called an off-ramp, because she said she doesn't have wet gear, which is absolutely a load of nonsense. I know she's out walking all the time. So there'll definitely be 3 of us, me, Caroline and Shannon, joining with 80, 90, 100 others in climbing Errigal to, I mean, I obviously will donate, but it's also really to back Caroline and what she's trying to do in memory of Carl, her hubby there. And there's a lovely picture actually I saw in one of the papers of Carl, who was a real sort of outdoorsy type person, I remember from our last conversation, with his wife, Caroline, and the 3 lovely children running towards them in a wooded area. It really is a lovely, lovely picture, and they clearly are a lovely family. You can tell that from chatting to that lady, can't you? Morning all, says a listener. I was at Knightbridge Hospital in Belfast, and it was an ankle injury that's been going on for nearly 2 years. I paid for an MRI scan, many trips to physio, seen locally, no answers there. I was seen for half an hour. Doctor knew right away the problem, gave me an injection, which was a relief to ease the pain. But it's a long way to go for an injection that surely could be done in Donegal or my GP surgery. The care in Knightbridge was so good. I mean, there are options now. There are different sort of ways to access healthcare, not just privately, not just publicly with the GP or the hospital, but there are private outfits out there. I'm not sure if they could have helped. I'd imagine possibly they could, but I'm glad you've got relief though. And hopefully those services, if they're not available here, should be available here. Hi, Greg. Our Highland Radio covering the count in Aura tomorrow. It's different to the national and it's different to the Dáil and local elections. So we are going to be there. But there's not a wealth of information. It's going to be a quiet enough atmosphere. I think there's certain parties aren't actually even attending, or if they are, they're going to turn up very, very late. So the counting staff will be there busying themselves counting. I do understand that some of the parties involved and individuals involved have got together a tallies people group. So they'll be tallying, and hopefully they'll be keeping an eye on all three candidates on the ballot paper and the spoiled votes as well, because we really want to get a sense of where Donegal is going in relation to this. And it depends who votes today. The opinion polls on actual votes, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Yeah, so we'll be there from 12 to 1. I mentioned a little earlier, we've got Michaela Clark with us on the floor. We have John McAteer, Paddy Rooney, Dr. Joe Kelly, and myself. We're going to be on air from 12 to 1. And if the content is there, we'll extend it out for a bit on our social media exclusively as well. So we're keeping all our options open. But it's not going to be breakneck speed, general stroke local election coverage, because it's simply not there. And there's no declaration on the day. That is made nationally. So we'll only get a sense of what's going on. There won't be any sort of declared outcome for Donegal. It's just not the way the presidential election is done.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Cultus Keltry Éireann presents Cargus, Celebrating Connections, a spectacular evening of music, song and dance on Tuesday 28th of October at 8 p.m. in Angrainan Theatre, Letterkenny as part of their national tour. Experience Ireland's best traditional musicians, singers and dancers with narration by Kiana Campbell and Dermot DeFeacha. Tickets from the theatre box office, website or Letterkenny Cultus branch members.
Shannon Airport has handy parking, famously short queues, great people, seamless security and amazing destinations. It's the shortcut to your next holiday, like Broadway in New York, croissants in Paris, tapas in Madrid, or reindeer rides in Lapland. So whatever the destination, enjoy a hassle-free airport experience. Shannon Airport, making it easy.
Us pigeons see everything when we're flapping around up here. Well, almost everything. See, burning certain fuels releases invisible toxic pollutants, which can trigger asthma and lead to serious illness. So, if you're going to light a fire in your home, make sure to use low-smoke fuel. Oh, and never wing at burning rubbish.
Choosing low-smoke fuel is better for all of us. Let's clear the air for everyone. And remember to clean chimneys and heating appliances at least once a year. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
There's a real autumn feel in Letterkenny. The perfect time to enjoy a coffee or explore your favourite shops. Discover more choice, more style and more to enjoy than ever before in Letterkenny. Brought to you by Shop LK.
You value bank holidays that bring more to the table, like exciting Lidl Plus offers. Roast-worthy Bordby approved whole medium chicken, 14% off now $4.29. And stout standing Guinness savings, 15-pack was $29.50, now $24.85 plus deposit. Lidl, more to value. Get the facts for Drinkaware, visit drinkaware.ie.
It's the Donegal Creameries Milk €500 cash splash. We're giving away €500 in cash every week. Scan the QR code on promotional packs of Donegal Creameries Milk and you could be making a splash with €500 cash. Pick up special packs of Donegal Creameries Milk in store to find out more. Terms and conditions apply. The €500 cash splash with Donegal Creameries Milk.
Shekalaha Ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus Forbor an go letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobl a guachtu, era a guachtu. Teshe.
The time now is 17 minutes past 11. Now, the Car Jazz Tour will take place in venues across Ireland. In fact, it is beginning on the 25th to the 31st of October. And the show will take place in our own Angrainan Theatre, Letterkenny, on Tuesday, the 28th of October. And the producer of this year's tour is Ray Conway. And Ray joins me on the line now. Hi, Ray.
Morning, Greg.
So, lots of prep, all ready to go to hit the road.
Yeah, just about. Now, we're opening tomorrow evening. at the Culturlin in Monkstown, and that's when it kicks off. And from there, we're going to the Tawn Theatre in Dundalk, then on to the Assembly Buildings in Belfast, and we're coming to yourself there in Letterkenny on next Tuesday, the 28th, and then we're on to Ballina, Cushnahouna and Ennis, and we're finishing up at Brewbaroo and Cashel on Friday the 31st, Halloween.
Yeah, it's a busy run, isn't it? Compact, busy run, and we're very lucky to have been chosen up here. We're being told not to miss the chance to experience the tour. Talk to me about the show and what people can look forward to on Tuesday.
Well, the show is called Corgus, and it's a new show from Comhaltas Comhaltaí Éireann, and Corgus is the Irish word for friendship. So the focus on the show is on friendship and also celebrating connections. So the show will involve words, music, song and dance, and we're going to bring the audience on a unique journey, looking at how that Irish concept of Corgus, friendship, is central to our culture, and how that has kind of forged connections between people and communities down through our history and on to the present day.
And that obviously then has to incorporate our reels, our jigs, our ballads, dance more generally.
Yeah, we have dancing, we have singing, we have seven musicians, all of which are All Ireland title holders, and in fact, between them they have over 50 All Ireland titles, and that's just the musicians. We have two singers. We have Karen Trench, again an All Ireland winner from Kerry, very, very accomplished traditional singer, and we have Anthony Cairns. Some of your listeners might know him from the Irish Tenors, so we're delighted to have Anthony on board. Yeah. And then we have our dancers as well, of course, and our two narrators, Sienna Campbell, who worked with RTE for many years, and Dermot DeFuicha, who might be known to your listeners from his work in Rossnaroon and on TG Carr and in theatres around the country.
I think the fact that the people that you've gathered together, and the fact that the theme also is friendship is really quite fitting, because my experience of the Irish traditional music scene up here is that it is also an amazing way to harness and develop friendships and intergenerational friendships as well. I think that's the most amazing thing. You can see someone 8 years of age performing with someone 88 years of age or beyond. So it all really is quite fitting with the genre, I think.
Well, it is actually, and the show covers that element as well. It covers how traditional culture, particularly music, brings people together and has brought people together. I mean, Comhaltas as an organisation has been going since 1951, and quietly working away, to bring the traditional arts to people around the country. They run many music lessons, as you say, for young people. But one of their biggest events of the year is Fleadh na hÉireann, and many people have heard of Fleadh na hÉireann, but not so many people might know that Comhaltas actually organised that. And every year on year, that's becoming a bigger, more popular event. I mean, you had it yourself in Letterkenny, I think.
We want it back. We want it back, Ray.
In the 70s. And it seems everybody wants it now. It was in Wexford last year. I think they estimated that there were 800,000 people had attended it over the week in Wexford. And next year it's coming to Belfast, which is will be quite a historic event. And this tour kind of reflects on that as well, because one of the aspects of friendship that we look at in the show is that idea of how the hand of friendship was extended between the communities in the north of Ireland, and how that has had such an impact on us today in terms of the peace process. So I suppose our theme is wide, and it covers not just our own culture, but also how our culture has been influenced by other cultures in terms of sort of exchange of music. And one of the aspects that we have with the show is that for every venue we go to, we're going to have an opening act from another culture, from some culture that's made their home here in Ireland. And in Letterkenny, we're going to have a Zimbabwean performer called Future Index Moyo. Hope I'm getting that right. And he's head of an a cappella group called Ame Vivane. And he'll be singing for us. He'll also be doing some drumming and a gumboot dance.
Yeah, we were so blessed, Ray, a few months back. I think it was part of the Argyll Arts Festival where we had traditional Irish musicians in with us, African musicians. I can't remember all of the continents and countries that were represented. All instruments that were very different, but all kind of had their same roots somewhere, if you know what I mean. And the way and styles in which they were played. It was really quite remarkable to hear an African instrument playing a jig, if you know what I mean. But it married perfectly.
And this is the amazing thing, and it's actually the part of the title of our show, is celebrating connections. And culture really, really does connect people. Music, song, no matter where you look in the world, you will find those connections, those similarities, because, everybody can relate to music.
Well, it was the one common language in the room that morning. That's the simplest way I could put it. It was the one language that all of our guests could speak, and they could play it brilliantly.
It is, and even if we don't understand each other's words, we understand music. And even if we hear a beautiful song in a different language, it can still move us. So our show, Gorgeous, it's a lot about that as well.
And I would say you're going to see multi-generational, cross-generational audiences right across the country, not least here in Letterkenny. Ray, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. We can't wait to see the results of all the hard work and all the talent that will be present on stage and maybe somewhat off stage. But anyway, thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Greg.
Look after yourself. That's Ray Conway there. And it's a limited tour. It's a countrywide tour, but it's a limited tour. So if you want to see the Gorgeous tour, you have to get to the box office at Greenon Theatre and book your ticket for this Tuesday, the 28th of October. We're told that it starts at 8 p.m, by the way, and we're told the concert will be an unforgettable journey through the live tradition of Ireland, from exhilarating reels and lively jigs to moving ballads and dance. Every performance will reflect the bonds of friendship that keep the tradition alive and thriving. So that's something nice for you potentially to look forward to on Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Call the Greenon box office to secure your ticket there. Right, let's see. I was going to take a break, but I do have time for other stuff that's coming in. I need to play some requests, actually. Good luck to Sean Hume and Lee McGeever getting married today from all the Hume aunties and uncles, and lots of people playing nice requests for Lee McGeever and Sean Hume. All the best on your wedding day. Lots of love, Mum and Dad. Another request for you. The wedding taking place in Carragart. Lots of love from Kerry and Paul. Lily and Sean wishing you all the best for your wedding day from Lisa, Daniel, Ryan and Kira. Lily and Sean getting married. Wish you both all the best on your wedding day. Love from Kira and Evan, I beg your pardon. I always say Evan instead of Evan. My apologies. Let me see. There was another request. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's a comment. Right, I'll come back to it in a second. Maybe I am fully up to date. I know there was something I did want to read. Right, so we were discussing yesterday concerns about a wind farm at Drumquin. We were speaking to a lady, a local resident, who said, look, there's a lot of wind farms around the place. This is the last hill without one. This was her testimony. It's a hill of historical importance, but it's also closer to the village, the town, and they are concerned about it. ABO Energy, they say, is currently exploring the potential for a wind farm development at Dunnery Hill comprising 6 turbines and associated development with a maximum tip height of 150 metres. They say renewable energy projects like this are crucial to achieve security of supply, create economic investment and benefit and support the delivery of Northern Ireland's renewable energy target as they move away from damaging fossil fuels. For the Dunnery Hill wind farm proposal, independent estimates forecast as a minimum it can reduce CO2 emissions by 34,500 tonnes a year, generate business rates of over €435,000 per year, of which around 47% will go to Fermanagh and Omagh District Council, provide a local community benefit fund of over 54 grand, over 1.89 million over a 35-year period. They say the project's been designed in accordance with the relevant guidelines as set out in legislation, planning policy and local development plans. The proposal, they say, is at an early stage and they are committed to engaging meaningfully with the local community before finalising and submitting a planning application. And as part of their planning application consultation, they hosted a public information event in Drumquin on Wednesday the 22nd of October. The event was an opportunity for residents and stakeholders to view details of the proposal, speak directly with members of the project team and share their feedback. They say the event was very well attended and they'd like to thank everyone for their time and engagement. The feedback, they say, will now be reviewed and considered by the project team. In addition to the event, a dedicated project website is available where information about the proposal is shared and feedback can be submitted online. Right, okay, so that's their reaction to it. They're planning it. They haven't submitted the planning. The positives that they talk about, I don't think our guest yesterday would have disputed. Reduce the carbon footprint. Fantastic. Less CO2s, more business rates, super stuff. But their concerns was living beside it, right? So that's not necessarily addressed there as such. But the company are keen to point out, and I want to be and have to be fair, they're keen to point out that there is a consultation there and it's a meaningful one. Right, I'm going to be speaking to Dominic Carlin after this break.
Tune in all next week from 10:30 where Greg Hughes will be talking to some of Donegal's up-and-coming new business owners as part of the Donegal Business Showcase 2025 in association with Donegal Local Development Company. Also, check our social channels for promotional videos. Donegal Business Showcase 2025 is brought to you in association with Donegal Local Development Company, supporting business within the community.
Get more great deals this week at Dunnes Stores. Pick up selected wines like Dada Malbec or Connoisseur and Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc, €10 or less. Get selected Pringles, Cadbury Treat Size, Mars Fun Size and Nestle Minis, now half price. And check out Deal 3 of our 12 Deals of Christmas, with Quality Street 550-gram tubs, now only €4.50. And stay tuned for next week's deal. Plus, you can save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop. Excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Smart employers choose One for All. Reward your staff tax-free now up to €1,500 with gift cards that can be spent directly in-store and online with thousands of retailers on thousands of brands. Give cards physically or digitally. It's gifting made simple. Order One for All gift cards now at any post office or online at onpost.com/business gifting. Terms and conditions apply. The One for All gift card is issued by GVS Prepaid Europe Limited and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Hey, got some old household electrical appliances or batteries lying around? Recycle them for free with We Ireland in partnership with Donegal County Council at our special collection day on Saturday 25th of October in Falcarra at Dennis McCallion's yard from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We'll accept anything household with a plug or battery. See weeireland.ie.
Find your greatest Christmas presents at Yisk. Save up to 60% on, for example, indoor furniture. Find more gift ideas in your local Yisk store or online at yisk.ie. Yisk, Scandinavian sleeping and living.
The car that started it all, the Volkswagen Beetle. Built in Bowles Bridge back in 1950. Since then, we've come a long way. From first days at school, first loves and first jobs. We've been there rain or shine, and the odd bit of sun. 75 years on, we're still proud to call Ireland home. Your Volkswagen. Love every mile. Celebrating 75 years in Ireland.
Volkswagen. Order your 261 with Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. See the full range at connellys.ie.
I'm now joined on the programme by Dominic Carling from Strabane. Good morning, Dominic.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Brilliant stuff. And just to let listeners know, quite remarkably, between us, me and you, Dominic, we've run 29 marathons. Remarkable we've achieved that, isn't it?
29 marathons to date, yeah.
Yeah, how many have you done?
And hopefully, if everything goes well, I'll run the 30th marathon on Sunday.
Yeah, the 30th marathon on Sunday is a very, very important one, isn't it? And Rory, obviously, forever in your thoughts. But you're using this marathon as an opportunity to talk about Rory and his situation. I don't want to ask a leading question. Can you tell us about Rory and his story as much as you're comfortable in doing so, Dominic?
Well, sadly, we lost Rory on the 7th of May, 23. Rory was a very lovable son, very outgoing. But sadly, he went down that road. He started taking drugs. Yes, we were worried about him, Craig, but there's only so much a parent can do. You know, you can advise your son, daughter, whatever, to please don't go down that road. But when they're going into the environment of the town or going out, you know, peer pressure is there, and all it takes is that one drug to get addicted.
And that is it. It's not always just a free choice, is it? It's the proliferation of drugs. They're everywhere. It's the pressures you mentioned to try them. And it's, you know, those that are dealing them want you to become dependent, and they will go to great lengths to ensure so. So this is a message
for business for them.
Yeah, it's a message for all young people, all older people, and families, mums and dads as well. This could land on anyone's door.
Yeah. You never think it's going to come to your own door, Craig, but sadly, it came to our door. And that's why I was determined to do something positive in Rory's memory. This marathon, obviously, I will be running in Rory's memory, along with anybody else that's lost their lives to addiction. And doing so, we will be raising funds for the local corn centre for them to continue on with the great work that they've been doing over the last couple of years. With the help of the campaign and with the help of the local people and business people in Stavan, who have helped me raise £165,000 through different events. You know, we've started off, we run the Belfast Marathon, we've done Mount Errigal, we've done a number of different concerts, we've done swimming events, we've done an ultra marathon from Stavan to Downings, and this is the last event. You know, one of the last events is the marathon now on Sunday.
It's the big push is on.
The big push is on. But, you know, the money is going to a great cause, the Corn Centre in Stavan, to do great work. We've used that money for education programs, you know, around the local colleges, the schools. We had an Open Minds Youth Wellbeing event in a local Melbourne hall, where got to 400 pupils came from the different colleges and schools. Really, just they make them aware of the dangers of taking drugs and
addiction. That's what I was going to say, Dominic, because
let really them know that there is people out there.
Yeah.
If you are involved, they reach out. You know, with different services there.
Yeah, I think it takes a broader,
it's so
wider.
Important they let people know that.
And it takes a broader, wider community policing political response too, because you know there are people using their backgrounds, using intimidation to sort of really keep operating in plain sight, and it's not they themselves that be operating in plain sight, of course. It's the other potential, you could argue, victims of the drugs trade, you know, the young people that they try and sell a lifestyle to or intimidate them into doing the dealing.
Yeah, that is true in some cases, very true. But the big boys, you know, they're lying back in the houses and selling young people out to sell these drugs.
Dominic, when was the last marathon that you ran?
My last marathon was in Belfast in May.
Okay, right. So you would stay then relatively, just in terms of your own personal preparation, would you sort of almost be 2/3 of the way there, marathon ready all of the time then?
Well, we're doing a marathon there, 3/4 marathon, Ballinaferry, on the setup of Union Quinn.
Right.
And that's like an annual event, you know. Yeah. 3/4 marathon, it's nearly 20 miles. So you would be kind of, anybody, like I would run a couple of marathons a year. You would kind of be ready to do a marathon at any time, you know.
Yeah.
At what pace you would be fast enough to do it, it's a different matter. Like.
Yes, indeed.
But I'm going to Dublin this year. They run it, enjoy it, and enjoy the event from the Forest Marathon.
Yeah,
it's not about times for me.
It's
about creating awareness
exactly
to the young people. Like.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, there is rain predicted. If you don't finish it at a certain speed, hopefully you finish in the dry, Dominic. But listen, I think it's great what you're doing.
Well, we have to look at the positives. Rain will keep us cool.
Right, that's it, isn't it? I need to take a leaf out of your book. Listen, thanks for helping us to get to know Rory a little bit and remembering him with you. It's astonishing what you've done. £165,000 so far, and hopefully more to come through your efforts on Sunday, but also telling us about the Coram Centre and the reality that we never know when something like this could visit our doorsteps as well. So good luck on Sunday, isn't it? It is on Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday, yeah.
Well done, Dominic. Thanks so much, Dominic Carlin there from Strabane, his 30th marathon. I've never run one, of course. And remembering his son, Rory, who passed away at age 22 in May of 2023. And he's running that marathon in his memory. Right, let us get to some more of your comments there. Here. In the good weather, when restaurants and pubs have seating outside, I feel they take advantage and put too many tables and chairs. Surely there's a limit. I don't think this is fair to visually impaired people in wheelchairs. Just my opinion, thank you. Yeah, we did talk about that, and we were talking yesterday about the accessibility of Donegal for people who are disabled or have a disability, if I could put it like that, or visually impaired. Right, one of your contributors this morning said the Irish who went abroad went over to work. This is a very naive view. People left for various reasons, many for work, some who were unable to access mental health services here, survivors of institutions who wouldn't be employed in Ireland, and there are those who go to England and demand to be housed as if it is their rights. There is a multitude of reasons why people have left Ireland, and that's one of the first times I've kind of heard it articulated like that, so it's interesting, thank you. Greg, using a pencil can be rubbed out, a pen can't. That's the ballot paper I'm talking about. Yeah, it's about who's actually going to rub your pencil out. You would have to do it on such a scale to influence an election, and the ballot boxes are watched by the Gardaí so tight. I don't actually believe, and I don't. This sounds terrible. I don't believe we have an organisation in the States that would be capable of organising that, to be honest with you. If you think there is, by all means, use a pen, but I just can't see it. In relation to the riots, hi Greg, I would agree with the protest at the City West, but the only downside is every man and woman should have been there. What happened in this country, but the old silly Irish just sits back and take everything. This government should have never been allowed back in again. They have the country destroyed, believes that listener. In my opinion, and it's shared by many of my Irish citizens, it's that the majority of we, the Irish, don't want to see a large Muslim population establishing itself here in Ireland. And it doesn't matter what country they come from. If we look to places like England, France, Germany and more, we can see the problems with integration, etc. On voting, it's scandalous that so many schools are closed and used for voting when we've so many community hall spaces that are probably more suitable. Yeah, that's true, actually. Probably a bit of a pain in the neck. I didn't twig that because there's a few young people around me and they're off today, and I just thought they were taking their holidays a little bit earlier. I never actually even considered that, so there you go. And my own son off this morning for that very reason, now that I reflect. Not good that I shouldn't have made that connection. Good morning, Greg. The result of this Soldier F case brings back the distinct memory of PM David Cameron's words. It was wrong and I am sorry. That day was effectively the road to the Good Friday Agreement. This makes it a mockery of all that. The problem is that we have had people who were framed for crimes who the judiciary or those that pull the strings just wanted them convicted, and they spent years and years in prison, and we had to fight They had to fight to get those convictions overturned, and unfortunately miscarriages of justice happen all of the time. Whether or not people believe or know or feel they know whether this person was guilty or not guilty, and the court found them not guilty, the judge can only consider the law, and he can only consider the evidence in front of him, how reliable that evidence is, and whether that evidence reaches the bar that we would all want required for a conviction. So it's a shallow, given the judge's comment, a shallow victory, I think, for anyone charged with those crimes from back then. But the law is the law, and sometimes it works against, and obviously sometimes for asylum seekers. Like all people, some are great workers and some are good for nothing. I've worked for 50 years in this country, and yet I'm entitled to very little. The thing is, you see, what we have to figure out, I think, in this country to some extent as well, is the majority of people coming here from overseas are either they can move freely within Europe because they're European citizens, or they have come here on work visas. Then there are those who are genuinely fleeing persecution. And then there are those that, so to say, well, it's a decent life in Ireland, you're well looked after. The problem is that, are we concerned about people coming here for the wrong reasons and exploiting the state? Or are we concerned about anyone coming here that might look a little bit different to us? You know what I mean? And that's the real one of the things that's going on in this country. Are you talking about, when you say you don't want certain cultures coming in here, or you don't want people, are you talking about the group of individuals that might be coming over here as sort of, for the finances and just to cream off the state? Or are you talking about everyone that's black or brown? And that's really a conversation that needs to be had across Ireland and where we're at as a people, and where that Cade made a culture, or that welcoming spirit, or those welcomes that were extended to us, and so on and so forth. All the lines are being blurred there. If that makes any sense at all, if you understand what I'm saying. 08660 25,000. Well, Shannon isn't here. She's on Hollybobs. She's not here to keep me and you guys up to date with what's happening across social media. But we have a very good deputy. It's Deputy Donna Marie Doherty, and she's going to be joining me after these messages.
Help promote your business, club or school with a calendar printed by BizPrint. Call 91777955 or visit bizprint.ie for all your promotional needs. Make this Christmas unforgettable at Encourage Hotel in the heart of Donegal's Wild Atlantic Way. Enjoy cosy family rooms, selection boxes and hot chocolate for the kids, plus tickets to Errigal Pet Zoo's magical Santa experience, complete with reindeer grotto and festive fun for all. Book your Santa experience at Encourage today at encouragehotel.com.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain, or in need of a reset? Imagine a place where gentle healing vibrations, light and sound gently wash over you, nurturing both your body and mind, melting away tension and easing pain. This is possible at Beyond Light Therapy, designed to support deep relaxation, renewal, and your body's natural ability to heal. People report a sense of calm, improved mood, mental clarity, and renewed energy. At Beyond Light Therapy, where health begins, experience the first 60-unit energy enhancement system on the planet. Call us today to begin your journey.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality, and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
The Chadwick's autumn sale is now on across all branches nationwide. Myra SE Elite 9.8 kilowatt shower, only €275. 8 kilowatt Waterford Stanley freestanding stove, great value at €699. DeWalt brushless drill twin pack with 2 batteries, now an incredible €499. Visit your local branch or shop online for more savings at chadwicks.ie. Chadwicks.
Let's get it done!
Celebrate the life and music of the legendary Joe Dolan live at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny, Friday, January the 16th, with the Dolan family and the original Joe Dolan band performing all the classics, Good Looking Woman, Make Me an Island, and many more. Tickets on sale now from the hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Our Christmas shop has now opened for all your festive shopping needs. Explore our extensive range of decorations, bedding and more in our homeware department, in-store or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So, the weather forecast, sunny spells will develop this afternoon and showers will clear, but cloud will return later in the afternoon, bringing further showers, temperatures 9 to 11 degrees. Right, Donna Marie Doherty has our social media roundup. You're not going to embarrass me like that other doll, are you? There's an yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get you in frame here. I can't do everything. You've already embarrassed me.
I'll
old.
do my very best.
Right, okay. Now, let's find out what the story is with this fake baby scandal. What's this?
Yes, this has been doing the rounds on TikTok, so it has, and it's from a wee village in Scotland, and a girl called Kira has been exposed, I suppose. She had an elaborate 9-month journey where she planned a pregnancy, and it resulted then with her faking the death of the child. So I suppose it all sort of kicked off back in February, and she started posting, like, did a wee pregnancy announcement. She was sharing baby bump photos, scans, videos that showed her belly kicking. So it was all very intricate.
So it was all a scam?
I think that it might have just been that she's a bit unwell.
So she was looking for attention, because I'm seeing a video of her here, and the baby bump's incredibly low.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, if I were there, I'd be going...
Very lifelike.
You know, no, I don't know. Is it?
You think so?
I don't think so.
Boys carry low? No?
Well, so they say, and half the time they're right. But so... what's the been reaction? Either is there legal consequences? Obviously there's going to be an online backlash.
No, there's been massive online backlash. Like, she had a gender reveal. People brought presents. Her family paid £1,000 for a pram. But people are saying that that could go down as some kind of a fraud charge or theft. But as well, a lot of people want the dad to go for emotional damage because he didn't know. But this went on for 4 months after the baby was allegedly born. So after the baby was born, she used a reborn doll, which is those lifelike dolls. And apparently it had like a feeding mechanism in it, or so I've seen on TikTok anyway. So he fed this doll thinking it was a baby.
She does need some help, doesn't
yes.
she? Yeah.
So okay. There's a big split on TikTok. Some people are saying that she obviously needs help, and other people are like, no, jail. So a lot of her people who would have been with her at the time have also come out.
I think people need to be careful of her potential vulnerability there. But then again, you see, you can't always use vulnerability or mental health as an excuse, because there's lots of people walk around every day with mental health issues that aren't faking pregnancies. So it's one of those, isn't it?
It is, but the police in Scotland have done out and they've done welfare checks, but there's no official criminal charges so far.
All right. It would be nice to know who might turn up at your funeral, what they might say about you. One person's gone to great lengths in relation to this.
It's been a bit of a wild week, so it has, in terms of life milestones and whether they're actually happening or not. So Mohan Lal is 74 and he is a veteran of the Indian Air Force. And he's very well known in the area that he's from. He's very big into charity. I think he bought or donated the funds for a new crematorium after he saw people that weren't able to grieve properly. And it got him to thinking, who would come to my funeral? And he posted on his social media, we're sad to share the news that Mohan Lal is no longer with us. Planned his funeral. And in this culture, the body lies on, it kind of looks a bit like a gurney or a stretcher, and is carried in. So he was lying posing as a corpse. And as they got to the crematorium, he sat up. There was hundreds of mourners there, including his 2 sons. But everybody was obviously really happy that he was alive. He got no backlash. Everybody was very, happy about it.
Hopefully he woke up. Imagine if he fell asleep and ended up, in the crematorium. There was a story. There was a film once. Is this disturbing? I don't think it is. A TV show once, and it stuck with me for ages. I couldn't sleep for ages. But it was a person in prison, and they wanted to escape prison. And the way they would go into escape prison is they there was prison guards, and the prison guards lived on site in the prison. Okay, so they made this arrangement with the prison guard that they would fake their death. Okay, they would be buried. Okay, but they had stuff in the coffin with them to survive for a short period of time. They would be buried, and then the prison guard would come out, exhume them, and this would be their escape mechanism. Okay.
Okay. A bit of blood coming.
So then obviously the story progresses and what have you. So the person is in the coffin with another deceased person. Actually, sorry, they weren't to die themselves. They were actually, what they did is, in the prison they snuck into a coffin. That's it. They snuck into a coffin, and then they were to be buried. This sounds horrible, right? But they were to be buried, and then the prison guard would come and dig them up, and then they would escape.
Oh,
so cut to the confines
Mhm.
of this coffin, and the person is there, and they've about like 5 or 6 hours of air or whatever, and they take a lighter out of their pocket, right, and they spark the lighter, and who's in the coffin with them? The
Who?
prison guard that was to dig them up.
Oh.
I know.
That sounds like an awful film.
I might have made it up. Maybe I should say I've made it up.
Get
There's
the
a book
IP
in
on it.
What's the do you get tax breaks for writing a book, Caroline? Is there advantages? Is that why there's so many books? Okay. Right, okay. So, Strictly host.
Yes, Tess and Claudia are hanging up their dancing shoes.
Oh.
They put out a video yesterday, a very odd video, and for ITV, I think somebody could have went to the effort of wiping the lens.
Yeah, let's have a listen to. I don't want to be personal, right? But Claudia, and here's them, have no hair. But that fringe, it must be so annoying, constantly in her eyes and bouncing off her eyelashes and stuff.
It's a bit uncanny valley, I think. It's a bit uncanny valley.
Don't get me wrong, I shouldn't say anything, but
Hi,
here we
it's
go.
seconds ago, and a lot of that time there's been some rumblings, and we want you to hear this from us.
Yeah, we have news.
Children were literally
Babies
bathing
in arms
on
and now they're
wonderfully
young, joyful years. On Strictly, we have decided that the time is right to step aside and pass over the baton.
The very sparkly baton. You've been here since the beginning, 2004.
And then they go on to blow smoke up each other's up each other for a while. Ray Darcy didn't get that joy, unfortunately.
It was an odd video because they, their TV, they spent the whole time like with their faces maybe 2 inches away from each other. It was
It's
really
quite
close.
close,
I
yeah.
didn't know. I thought that video was a bit odd, but I really enjoyed the comments on it. Somebody was like, couldn't they have waited until Strictly ended to make the announcement? It feels like they're taking attention away from the performers. And then the whole speculation of who's going to get the job. So the first comment I saw was, as long as it's not Alan Hammond doing the hosting. And then the next one is, Alan Hammond should host it. Or Alison Hammond should host it.
Oh, Alison, yeah.
She'd be
It
good
probably
crack.
end up being that Bradley Buck and his son. He seems to be
Oh,
presenting
yeah.
absolutely anything. Right. Can we jump to Miss Heard World? Did you invent this? Oh no, I saw this. Oh right, I'm going to watch this for the first time because I cringed so hard. Do we listen to it first?
You can listen to it. There's a bit of a gap in the middle where you'll just hear awkward silence.
Okay, 1 second.
Miss Grand Paraguay.
Let's go back again.
Next in is Miss Grand Paraguay.
Oh no, the wrong girl's walking up. Is he going to say it to her?
Congratulations to
Oh, she's looking for people to cheer. The cameraman doesn't know what to do. Donna Marie, I don't know what to do. I keep taking your mic down. I'll leave it up.
He's looking at Canada.
I beg your pardon. I announce Miss Grand Paraguay.
Did he? Oh no. What's going to happen to Panama? Did she get through?
No. No,
There
she
is a
didn't.
lot of noise in this
And she just walked back.
She just had to walk on back.
Is it just me or do they all look the same?
They're
They're all the same
they
facial
do.
shape and
They do.
bone
She took it like a
structure.
champ, though. Like she put up a statement. Then she was like, "These things happen. It was a mistake. You have to know how to lose and recognize the triumph of others."
Good stuff. Good girl.
But then somebody commented, "This is me at the doctors whenever they think they've said my name."
Oh, so true. It's me
Oh.
when I go up to book into a hotel and I'm always not confident that that's the hotel I should be in because it's always such a long,
Yeah.
laborious procedure.
Yeah.
Time for one quickie.
Okay. Kneecap maybe.
Go on then.
Kneecap were in Leo's Tavern in Crawley last
Oh,
night.
wow, right, okay.
Well, 1/3 of them anyway. Nisha.
Did they start off there?
DJ Provy is from Derry, and he used to gig there a lot. In relation,
Shannon had a story about them. Can't remember exactly what it was.
I think they go there for downtime, so they do. But it was Mowgli Blapp was there anyway, and he's in the photo.
Which
that
one
we
is
have there. He is. Let me double check that. Nisha.
Yeah, but I don't know which one it is in the picture.
He's kind of the short one.
Right,
with
okay.
hair.
I can rule
Right.
out quite a few who it is.
Yes, yeah. I think there's a girl wearing a kneecap jumper directly in front of him.
Thank you so very much for that, Donna Marie.
but
And
yes.
brilliant for them. Listen,